let me introduce myself. My name is Ardel, the Master of Ceremony of today's event. We are going to start the opening of webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. For your information, this webinar is live on Zoom and on Simeo Kitabs and Language official YouTube channel. Before we begin, may I ask our distinguished panelists to turn on the camera and mute the microphone during the opening ceremony. Thank you. The Honorable Secretary General of Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Professor Ainun Naim PhD, the Honorable Director of Simeo Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes P. Valenzuela, all of Director or representatives of Simeo Centers in Indonesia, Board of Directors of Simeo Kitab and Language, the resource person of the webinar, all distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon and welcome to the opening ceremony of webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. This webinar is organized by Simeo Kitab and Language to mark the end of online training on teachers' competence improvement, as well as to commemorate 12th-year anniversary of Simeo Kitab and Language on 13 July 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, the webinar will be begun with formality session as follows. First, singing the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, followed by the presentation of Simeo Color and Simeo Song, report of Sikil's 12th-year achievement from Director of Simeo Kitab and Language, Dr. Luh Ani Mayani, welcoming remarks by Director of Simeo Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes P. Valenzuela, opening remarks from Secretary General of Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Professor Ainun Naim PhD, and last but not least, group photo sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our agenda, we will see the presentation of Indonesia Raya, Simeo Colors, and Simeo Song.
Sana It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow.
Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn. Through science, health, and technology, we will share our expertise. By promoting knowledge and policies, we can build a better world.
Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean air and symbiose. Building the future is our legacy.
We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams. For a better quality of life is now within our reach.
Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean air and symbiose. Building the future is our legacy. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean air and symbiose. Building the future is our legacy. Building the future is our legacy.
Now we would like to invite the Director of Simeo Kitab and Language, Dr. Luh Ani Mayani, to deliver a report of SIKL's 12-year achievements. The Dr. Luh Ani, the time is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Ardel. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. First of all, I would like to extend a very warm regards to our honorable guest. Honorable Professor Ainun Naim, PhD, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia. Honorable Dr. Ethel Agnes Valenzuela, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, Head of Center for Development and Empowerment of Language Teachers and Education Personnel, distinguished rectors, deans, heads of department, and representatives from partner universities of Simeo Kitab in Language, heads or representatives from education offices of South Sulawesi and Bali Province, Board of Directors and representatives from Simeo Biotrop, Simolek, Rekfon, Sikkim, Sikis, and Simeo Sisep. Honorable keynote speakers, Dr. Vinita Dewi, Mr. Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, and Ms. Veronique Sears. Respective guests from Foreign Language Teacher Associations, other distinguished guests and participants, 600 language teachers from Southeast Asia who are joining this webinar via Zoom or from YouTube channel of Simeo Kitab in Language. It is a great honor to have you all here in the opening ceremony of the webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. This webinar is conducted in conjunction with the 12th anniversary of Simeo Kitabin language, as well as the closing ceremony of the online training on teachers' competence improvement. So once again, thank you very much for your time and your presence today in this important and great occasion. Bapak Sesjen, ladies and gentlemen, today on the 13th of July, 2021, Simeo Kitabin language commemorates its anniversary with the theme 12 years of advancing language education, acceleration of freedom to learn, emancipated learning. For 12 years, SIKIL has taken a role in advancing the quality of language teachers and education personnel through the development of learning resources, research development, as well as capacity building and networking. As a part of the MOEC Indonesia, SIKIL has accommodated programs and activities that are in line with the MOEC policy, Merdeka Belajar, Kampus Merdeka, Freedom to Learn, Emancipated Learning, and synergize with various stakeholders in advancing language education. Simeo Kitabin language always continues to strive and work to contribute to the world of language education, both in Indonesia and Southeast Asia region. Ladies and gentlemen, now please let me inform you the overview of the program, Online Training on Teachers' Competence Improvement. This online training served 600 teachers from 8 countries in Southeast Asia. There were 6 teachers from Cambodia, 372 teachers from Indonesia, 2 teachers from Laos PDR, 90 teachers from Malaysia, 1 teacher from Myanmar, 17 teachers from Thailand, 92 teachers from the Philippines, and 20 teachers from Vietnam. From the language choice, there were 519 teachers choose to improve their proficiency in English, 50 in German, 29 teachers in French, and 2 teachers in Spanish. All participants successfully joined this online course for a 3-month period from the 5th of April until the 5th of July 2021. In this program, each participant must join the online training for at least 64 hours. Surprisingly, there were 431 teachers, or around 72%, joining the online training more than 64 hours. This fact surely indicated that the participants were seriously joining this training. Respective guests, ladies and gentlemen, the great achievements I would like to share is that there were 136 teachers, or 31.55%, successfully elevated their proficiency 1 level higher than their previous level. Even there were 22 teachers, or 5%, successfully improved their competency 2 levels or more than their previous level. Overall, 94% of the participants completed the final test, but there were 6% of participants could not join or complete their final test due to sickness or other unavoidable reasons. Dearest guests and participants, afterward, we will see the testimony video presentation of some participants of this online training. We do hope that great experience during the training and good results after the training will be beneficial not only for teachers themselves, but also give advantage to improve the teaching quality of students' benefit. In addition, at the end of the webinar, we will also announce best performers of this online training. So be patient and get ready for these surprises. Bapak Sesjen, respective guests and participants, in conjunction with the 12th anniversary of Simeo-Kitabin language and the closing ceremony of this online training, in this very good moment, we also conduct a webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. There are 3 esteemed keynote speakers who are willing spending their valuable time with us today. So let us thank Dr. Vinita Dewi from ITEL Indonesia, who will broaden our perspective on optimizing foreign language teaching and learning through the utilization of mobile technology. Mr. Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, who will share with us about maximizing student interaction in online learning environment, and Ms. Veronique Shears from Altisia, who will enrich our knowledge on improving learning outcomes with blended learning. We do hope that participants could learn and gain more knowledge about language from this webinar, as well as getting more familiar with the use of technology in language learning. Ladies and gentlemen, before ending my speech, please allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Secretary General of MOEC Indonesia, Professor Ainun Naim, for his remarkable guidance to Simeo-Kitabin language, to Dr. Ita, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, for her great and continued support to Simeo-Kitabin language, to the Board of Directors of Simeo Centers in Indonesia, partner universities, Altisia, and other partner institutions for their sincere and active collaboration with Simeo-Kitab in language. To the deputies, head of divisions, and staff of Simeo-Kitabin language for their highly committed performance, and last but not least, to schools and language teachers across Southeast Asia countries who always support Simeo-Kitabin language conducting its quality program. Once again, thank you very much. Finally, after watching a short video about Sikil achievement for 12 years later on, we would like to kindly invite Dr. Ethel Agnes Valenzuela, the Director of Simeo Secretariat, to deliver her welcoming remark, and to Professor Ainun Naim, the General Secretary of MOEC Indonesia, to give his opening remark and officially open this webinar. Once again, thank you very much for your kind attention. Hopefully, we are always happy, healthy in this pandemic time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lohani Mayani. Next, in the agenda, we would like to invite Director of Simeo Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes P. Valenzuela, to deliver welcoming remarks. To Dr. Ethel, the time is yours.
Honorable Dr. Professor Ainun Naim, Secretary General of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of Indonesia, honorable officials of the Ministries of Education joining us today, Dr. Luke Anik Mayani, Kitep in Language Director, Simeo Center directors and officials joining us today, distinguished speakers, participants in this important webinar, staff of Simeo Kitep in Language, a very pleasant afternoon from Simeo Secretariat in Bangkok, Thailand. Happy anniversary, Kitep in Language. You have already accomplished a lot because all those who work for 12 years have dedicated their lives and their commitments and expertise and provided very strong foundation. And we see them today in this webinar. It is my pleasure to speak in front of you in these unprecedented and very challenging times. But I would like to thank Kitep in Language for arranging this online webinar, Transforming Foreign Language Learning in the Digital Age. That is to continue to show their commitment and, of course, to serve the region despite the raging pandemic, and many of us are still in lockdown. Allow me to share my presentation for this afternoon. So as you have known, even in Thailand, we are now in lockdown. COVID-19, after 16 months, it's still here with us and still going on. And this pandemic has changed the educational landscape, not just in Southeast Asia, but all throughout the world. When it started, lockdown in 190 countries and 1.5 billion learners were affected due to school closure and also to the different modalities adopted, which are very new to them. And also 247 million teachers and students are on different modalities. Some are OSCE, as we call them, out of school children and youth. They could not come back to the real face-to-face yet, and millions of teachers across the globe have had to scramble preparing their new platforms for learning, lesson plans, synchronous and asynchronous, and prepare resources that are necessary. So next, I would like to emphasize that the COVID-19 impact will really stay a bit longer because it has given us a lot of challenges where more families are now encountering impoverished situation. Budgets of ministries have been diverted or reduced for education to support health intervention, and quantity and quality of workforce now are like diminished. You know, many prefer to work at home and no longer to come back in the real office, and COVID-19 has already deepened the disparities in access to education and opportunities for education. But as the ministers of education have mentioned in several events that Simeo organized, there are silver linings that we can see and we have to celebrate. Like, you know, teachers transition to remote teaching and learning, new platforms emerge, and online access, YouTube, lectures, Instagram, and other social media platforms are already platforms or classrooms in a way, and hybrid learning, combination of conventional and also flexible learning abound. So these are what we see as silver linings, that we can now do differentiated instruction, differentiated learning, and even flipped classroom, etc., that you also experience in the program offered by Kitep in Language. So next, I would like to share that in foreign language teaching and learning during the pandemic, So we see that there is no longer a space, like globalization has been there, and we can easily learn languages at the confines of our own home. The integration of functions in modern education and emergence of new type of learning, new methods, and new tools, which are now very handy, and many of you have been acquainted in all of these modalities, and increasingly an integration of ICT in foreign language teaching at this time, as well as in learning. So next, I would like to share that for those who have experienced the new tools in foreign language teaching and learning offered by KIL, so you are familiar about the World Wide Web that allows you to access more information and participate in your classes and even other international events that are being offered across the globe. Then this multimedia emerges that, foreign language or foreign languages can be easily learned. And there are also opportunities for project-based learning together, using the breakout rooms for project-based learning, the Moodle platforms for conducting foreign language classes, and other tools that are very useful for foreign language classes. I'm also a language teacher. I teach English since 1980s, and I'm very happy that you have reached a lot of language teachers. So next, I would just like to share that in Simeo, or what we call as our strategic plan, we really have included or embedded language teaching, foreign language teaching in priority number 7, that is adopting 21st century skills. We see Southeast Asian who can easily go in different parts of the world and share their expertise, and that foreign language should be from basic education and also an elective or specialized courses in higher education. So that is already embedded in Simeo's strategic plan. And next, I would like to share that the last dialogue of ministers, which has the theme of new education imperatives in post-COVID era, called all member countries of Simeo, associate member countries, and even our affiliate members to champion education transformation. And that's exactly your theme for today, transforming foreign language teaching in Southeast Asia. This can be done with all your speakers coming from different backgrounds and through strategic collaboration and partnership. So next, I would like to share with you that the ministers during the last meeting, June 17, have shared these key points that we should take a look for the next years. Expand innovation in education, deepen resilience, foster an educational environment that continue to support marginalized learners and members of Southeast Asian ecosystem, support capacity building for teachers like this one, working with each other. The Simeo centers are here, working with each other to promote spirit of lifelong learning, creating a policy environment that enhances collaboration and partnership. So again, the ministers of education in Southeast Asia have emphasized the need for collaborating, cooperating, innovation, and resilience. Next, I would like to share that the joint statement of the Simeo Council also took note of enhancing capacities of teachers and sustaining all of these knowledge resources sharing, which we call as open educational resources. Next, I would like to share with you that Simeo is a member of the UNESCO Global Education Coalition for COVID-19. If you will visit the website of COVID-19 Global Education Coalition, you will see that, all the courses, materials are shared freely at this time, including for us at Simeo. We have to support our own resources and share that with the rest of the world. So if you go to this website, Simeo is there, but as well as other private, government, UN members who are sharing their resources now during the pandemic. Next, I would like to share as well with you that we should continue to promote SDG. And in that way, we should continue to promote lifelong learning for everyone, especially for language teachers like us. And next, I would like to share that we are currently improving our resources online. And of course, this will all contribute to effective professional development. This is part of the Simeo Cares COVID-19 Accessible and Responsive Support Program, which you can also look in our website. And next, I would like to share that some online lectures can be seen in Simeo Secretariat website, and this continues to be our focus, Simeo lecture series from different centers, member countries, partners, and network. And next, this is the transformers. Shall I say, all Simeo centers will now be transformers to be the powerhouse of digital innovation and technology. It's not just in foreign language teaching, but also in learning, in improving the learning agenda of different countries, and also in capacity building for teachers. So we help one another in order to really reach out to more number of teachers and learners in Southeast Asia. And next, I think you like this, transformers, the Simeo online learning resources. We are now collecting all open online resources that can be shared, curated, enhanced together. And if you look at our website, it is in Simeo Cares, where online learning resources are freely shared. And they're all free and you can access them as well. I envy the teachers who enrolled in your course. I also wanted to learn foreign languages, but the time is something that is not with me. But thank you, QTEP in Language, for offering all of these foreign language classes to as many teachers, like almost 500 teachers who were benefited from your training. We wish to include that in our online learning resources in the future. Next, I should say that Simeo Center, Simeo Secretariat are working collaboratively for doing the online learning platforms that in the future we will be able to reach as many teachers and learners using online modalities. This is what I said as the silver lining of COVID pandemic. During this lockdown, we were able to share with each other our resources and convert that to online, easy to be accessed materials. And next, the main challenge actually for learners like me, sometimes the internet connectivity and accessibility. Many of our learners are, not at all times 100% connected. And also the availability of electronic devices which can support Zoom or other methods for teaching. Also the technological know-how, the generation gap between the digital natives and the others, baby boomers. Our students may have more tools that they know than the teachers, but it is really something that came out from this experience during the pandemic. And of course, if we have challenges, we have some sort of solutions. So next slide. Let me say that the way forward is for us at the policy level, ministries of education to continue to focus on this new movement, online blended education, and use that as a tool to reach the unreached and the teachers who could not really go to your places to learn. So online learning is becoming very popular, and of course collaboration is a must. We need to have that passion for sharing and borderless thinking. We must prepare our learners to continuously learn and reskill their own selves in order for them to be a lifelong learner and to equip themselves with 21st century skills, competencies, as well as flexibilities. So I think the sharing from Simeo Secretariat is that we're very happy that you are transformers and that you have transformed a lot of learners in this online course. And we are very glad that you lead all the centers in this 21st century competencies, reskilling, retooling our teachers and learners in this digital age. So congratulations, Kitep in Language. And we'll talk to you more about sharing all of the resources in Simeo Cares. Congratulations. And to all the participants, don't give up. Continue to learn. The world is really getting borderless, and you can be equipped in an instant. So utilize the tools and resources and connect with each other. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ethel. Next, as our main agenda, may we invite the Honorable Secretary General of Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Professor Ainun Naim, PhD, to deliver remarks and officially open the webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. To Professor Ainun, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, honorable guests, the Director of CMU Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes Valenzuela, the Director of CMU Kitab in Language, Dr. Luh Ani Mayani, Board of Directors of CMU Centers in Indonesia, speakers, representative of university partners, invited guests from other partners, also respective language teachers in Southeast Asia countries. A very blessed good afternoon to all of you. It is an honor for me to be with all of you, 600 language teachers from Southeast Asia, to celebrate the 12th anniversary of CMU Kitab in Language. So congratulations to CMU Kitab in Language for a successful 12 years of service and also a very happy anniversary. Siakil is still relatively young compared to other centers in Southeast Asia. But as mentioned by the director and also the director of the secretariat, Siakil has been showing very successful and impressive achievements, especially in recent years, including within almost 2 years of pandemic COVID-19. The new adaptive training programs, learning modules, and videos are of course very useful and applicable for language teaching and learning in this digital era. All teaching learning products from Siakil can help language teachers to elevate students' foreign language skills as well as their forces or critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communications competencies to face the 21st century challenges. In addition, a newly initiated program of Siakil, which is School Literacy Club, or in Indonesian language, it's called Club Literasi Sekolah. The program has shown how literacy activities at schools could improve students' interest in reading and writing activities. This also enhances students' foreign language skills and foresees to improve their life skills. Therefore, once again, I want to express my sincere appreciation and congratulations to Siakil. Keep up the good works to provide excellent contribution to language education in Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, before going further, fulfilling the request of the director of Siakil to open or to officially open this webinar, in this closing ceremony, here with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially open the webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. I believe that this webinar will bring benefits not only to language teachers, but also to students in Southeast Asia countries, and this may lead us to continue learning and to be role model teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share our national agenda. Probably at least many of you has heard or sees that we have priority in developing our human resources in our development or national development agenda. And this must relating to education and also relating to language education. In order to implement the priority, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia proposes a concept that we call Merdeka Belajar, or in English, we call it, I don't know whether this really express the meaning, the real meaning of Merdeka Belajar or not, but it's in English can be called independent learning. But the meaning is that we would like to provide all the facilities, situations that make the students can realize their potentials in whatever ways good for the students. It includes the flexibility of learning, the openness of the resources, so that those can induce the creativity of the students. And this strategy also relating to the direction and strategy in terms of how we develop teachers' competency and also their professionalism. Ladies and gentlemen, as one of SAMU member countries, Indonesia has roles not only to improve the education quality in Indonesia, but also takes an important part to improve the education quality in Southeast Asia countries. Indonesia always gives its active participation to support the achievement of SAMU mission. It has to promote cooperation among its member and associate member countries through its regional centers or projects with their professional leadership role in training, research and development, information dissemination, and other relevant activities in order to assist the member countries to develop expertise and excellence in education, science, culture, and also in terms of the development of technology and education. Thus, we expect later on will increase our quality of life. In relation to the Indonesian education policy to develop teachers' competency and professionalisms, and relating to the 7 priority areas of SAMU, the online training on teachers' competence improvement conducted by SAMU Kitab in language improves the roles of Indonesian government, especially in the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, to achieve the fifth priority of SEAMIO, which is revitalizing teacher education. Through this training program, Indonesia supports Southeast Asia teachers to develop high-quality language teachers among the member countries. Furthermore, with good and high competency in foreign languages, teachers will also elevate their professional competence, especially in mastering the teaching material deeply so that they deliver the teaching material better. Indirectly, excellent teachers will produce excellent students. Therefore, again, congratulations to Seakil and also congratulations to the 600 teachers who have successfully completed this online course. Ladies and gentlemen, today our world is shrouded with technology. Digital technology impacts various aspects of life, including education, and this enforced again by the situation of pandemic COVID-19. The world develops towards the transformation of the education, which is affected by the Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is also known as digitalization era towards society 5.0. Therefore, to be able to survive and develop, we teachers and students are required to have cognitive abilities, soft skills, and also can master the technology. Teachers have an important role in preparing students for this era. Those teachers cannot stop learning, adapting their skills, and to be resilient and brilliant in this digital age. This webinar will provide valuable information about the use of technology in language learning activities. So it is hoped this webinar would broaden your knowledge on the use of technology in language learning. And again, eventually, this will improve student learning outcomes. So closing my remarks, again, congratulations to Seakil for successful 12 years, and also congratulations to all the teachers, 600 teachers who has completed the training. Thank you very much, and God bless all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ainun Naim, PhD, for opening today's webinar officially. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is photo sessions. May we request our resource persons, distinguished guests, as well as board of directors and staff of Simeo Kitab and Language in the panelist room to kindly turn on the camera, put on your best position, and smile for the virtual photo session. We will take the first photo. Please be ready. Let me count. 1, 2, 3. Now for the second photo. Let me count once again. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a little bit of break until 2 p.m. Jakarta time or GMT +7, and we will continue with our main agenda of today, that is the webinar. But before that, we will present you the video of congratulatory message compilation for Sikil 12th anniversary.
We have seen extensive benefit from the skill programs in CMO member territories. Happy skill 12th anniversary. More success. Keep spreading the benefit.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Asep Saifuddin, Rektor Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia, mengucapkan selamat ulang tahun yang ke-12 Sikil. Kami sangat bahagia dan bangga bisa bekerja sama dengan Sikil. Semoga Sikil terus maju dalam membangun literasi di Indonesia. Selamat ulang tahun yang ke-12. Maju terus untuk Indonesia dan ASEAN. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
12 tahun sudah Channel Kitab in Language berkiprah gemilang berbagi manfaat. Selamat ulang tahun yang ke-12. Semoga jalinan kemitraan yang mesra antara Fakultas Pendidikan Bahasa dan Sastra, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia dan Sikil membuahkan berbagai program yang berkesinambungan. Mari bersama memajukan pendidikan Indonesia. Secerah cahaya sinar mentari menerangi awan di pagi hari. Mari bersama membangun negeri, wujudkan impian tak kenal henti.
On behalf of Simo Simalek, we are extending our heartiest congratulations to Simeo Kitab in Language for completing 12 glorious years of success. Hopefully, your center reaches new heights in the coming days. Congratulations.
Sikil has always been on the top of the list for dedicating to professional excellence in the innovations of language education development. Congratulations from all of us for your wonderful journey of 12 years of success.
Happy 12th anniversary Siameo Kitab in Language. We wish you more success in carrying your mandate in the future. Siameo CISEP is willing to support and collaborate more on your program, of course, related with early childhood care education and parenting. Congratulations and God bless you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Dr. Sumardiono, Direktur Siameo Sikim, mewakili seluruh manajemen dan staf mengucapkan selamat ulang tahun ke-12 Siameo Sikil. Sebagai lembaga regional, Sikil memiliki peran yang strategis dan semoga dapat terus menunjukkan eksistensinya dalam pengembangan pendidikan bahasa. Dirgahayu Sikil. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Atas nama keluarga besar Sikis, saya mengucapkan selamat ulang tahun ke-12 untuk Siameo Kitab in Language. Selalu menjadi pusat yang terdepan dalam pengembangan pendidikan dan guru bahasa di Asia Tenggara, terutama untuk program BIPA-nya, Maju Terus Sikil, Advancing Language Education. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Keluarga besar Dinas Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Provinsi Kalimantan Barat mengucapkan selamat ulang tahun yang ke-12 kepada Siameo. Semoga ke depan semakin berkembang dan bermitra dengan jajaran Dikbud Kalimantan Barat dalam peningkatan kualitas SDM, tenaga pendidik maupun kependidikan sehingga membawa pendidikan di Indonesia semakin maju. Terima kasih.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. Ladies and gentlemen, shortly we will start with the presentation by the resource persons. But before that, let me present the house rules of today's webinar. First, attendees other than keynote speaker are muted. Second, for attendees who joined the webinar via Zoom, if you have a question for the speakers, type your question in English on the Q&A box or chat box using the format name to whom the question is addressed, and your question. And for attendees who joined the webinar via YouTube, if you have a question for the speakers, type your question in English on the live chat using the format name to whom the question is addressed and your question. And fourth, participants who will get the certificates are those who joined the webinar via Zoom for at least 75% of the time provided and fill out the attendance list via Google Form, which will be shared via chat Zoom during the webinar. Next, I also would like to introduce our moderator for today. Ms. Tiarma Intan Marpawung is a lecturer in English Language Education Department at Universitas HKBP Nomensen Pematang Siantar. Her field of interest include linguistics and teaching English as a foreign language. Universitas HKBP Nomensen Pematang Siantar started the partnership initiation with Simeo Kitab and Language, and we gladly start our cooperation through this event. So this is a short curriculum vitae from Ms. Tiarma Intan Marpawung. So without further ado, may we invite Ms. Tiarma Intan Marpawung to chair the session. To Ms. Tiarma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Ardell, for giving me chance and time today for our seminar exactly on online webinar, Transformation on Foreign Language Learning in the Digital Era, held by Simeo Kitab in Language, and also commemorating the 12th anniversary of Kitab in Language. Yeah. Before we come up into the first presenter, I'd like you to see the curriculum, a short curriculum vitae of our first presenter. It is Ibu Dr. Luh Anik Mayani. Madam Luh Anik Mayani is a doctor in linguistics from University of Cologne, and then has finished her bachelor and master, bachelor from University of Udayana, specifically in linguistic study. And now, Ibu Luh Anik Mayani is a director of Simeo Kitab in Language, and I have seen also the curriculum vitae of Ibu Luh Anik Mayani as IFL writer for the Agency of Language Development and Cultivation, Ministry of Education and Culture of Republic Indonesia. So we can find a book of Lentera 1, Lentera 2, and Lentera 3. I think some teachers of Indonesian have ever seen this book. And then Ibu Luh Anik Mayani also as a visiting lecturer in some countries such as Australia, Deakin University, Germany, and Italy. Then she's also an independent reviewer for some reputed journal. Then finally, Ibu Luh Anik Mayani is active researcher in a linguistics field and functions as president also in Indonesian Linguistics Society. So no much more argue. I think we will come into the first presentation from our first keynote speaker from Ibu Dr. Luh Anik Mayani, Director of Simeo Kitab in Language, entitled Transforming Language Teacher Trainings in the Digital Era. For the Honorable Ibu Dr. Luh Anik Mayani, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tiarma, for the introduction. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to inform you more about what Simeo Kitab in Language do concerning the digital era for our teachers training programs. So before that, please let me share my screen. So, yeah, can you see my screen, Miss Dharma?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, so once again, let me inform you. So it's more about information about what Simeo Kitabin language has been done or will do in addressing the language teachers' needs in the digital era. Actually, this paper has been presented for the Simeo Congress in last May. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to share with you today is based on at least these 5 studies. So there are 3 articles about language learning in the pandemic situation, and there is 1 survey conducted by Simeo Kitabin language in January, and also it is also based on data presented by Mr. Patrick Lodge last April. So from those studies and data, we can see that the pandemic has brought changes and challenges in language teaching and learning. The changes are the face-to-face learning inside the classroom is replaced by online learning. So it is conducted outside the classroom. Teachers and students then have to adapt to some changes in their teaching and learning activities. For example, teachers have to use technology and they have also to design online materials as well as to assess a student's works online. And the challenges themselves can be seen either from teachers' point of view as well as from students' point of view. So the challenges from teachers' point of view are, among others, lack of representative e-learning platforms or facilities, lack of teachers' knowledge and skills to use technology to conduct online teaching and learning. And teachers believe that time to prepare online learning materials and the time to evaluate students' assignment longer than preparing the offline learning materials. And teachers also have to design interactive, simple, appropriate materials for online learning. And teachers also need professional development and training. So in the online class itself, for teachers, there is lack of students' motivation and engagement. And for the technical problem, they also suffer from unstable internet connection and also limited quota. So those are from teachers, and now let's see what are the challenges from students' point of view. So for students, online class make them, sometimes it is harder for them if they have unstable internet connection and limited quota. And for the students, also there is lack of communication and social interaction between teachers and students. And the last challenge from students is less control and guidance from teachers. And this sometimes makes students lazier to learn. So now let us see the teacher's perception of online learning. So teacher see that the online learning need ICT integration in education. So this integration should not only perform during the pandemic, but also should be conducted consistently because we are now in the Industrial Revolution 4.0. and designing modules, which can be used not only amidst the pandemic, but also in the future of online learning activities. And teacher also needs regular professional development programs, such as workshops, seminars about ICT integration and how to carry out online learning using various digital platforms, for example. And designing more interesting activities, focusing on the student-centered learning and improving the efficacy of teaching method and strategy. And teachers want to know more about how to promote a social presence, interaction, and collaboration between teachers and students in online learning. And from the infrastructure, for example, government should build and improve internet facilities in all regions. So now, actually, students also have suggestions on online learning. For students, it would be more interesting if the online learning is conducted by using video conference application, not just by chat application, for example. And they want to have fun learning activities such as watching movies, singing songs, and etc. And for students, assignments and learning materials should be able to be downloaded, and it could be discussed with some interaction between teachers and students. And students also need clear deadlines, and they also want material in language learning specifically to enrich their vocabularies, and the learning materials are related to the current problems or issues in the society. So those are from some studies conducted by some researchers in knowing what the perceptions and challenges faced by teachers and students in online learning. Now, in Simeo Kitabin language, we also conducted a survey. It was in January 2021 in order to know what needs or what are expected by language teachers when Simeo Kitabin language conduct training program. So here are the results. So this survey had involved 183 language teachers spreading in 27 provinces in Indonesia. And from this survey, we found out that most respondents, about more than 56%, they prefer blended training mode. So a combination between synchronous and asynchronous learning. For example, 2 hours synchronous, 3 hours asynchronous learning. So that's from the mode. And then in addition to the mode of training program, we also collect responses from our respondents in order to find out what activities are required by teachers in asynchronous and in synchronous learning. So activities expected by teachers in asynchronous learnings are doing tasks, for example, discussion and quizzes. And activities expected by language teachers in synchronous learnings are presentation from training instructors, presentation also by participants, and also discussion. So there is a question and answer session. Besides the learning mode and then the activities within the synchronous and asynchronous learning mode, we also try to find out the topics required by language teachers for our program. So from the 5 topics proposes, there are 3 topics required more by language teachers. They are training on the use of technology in online learning, training on online language learning medias, and also training on language teaching methodology. So it seems that language teachers really need trainings which are connected with technology in language learning. So now, what are we doing after Semiokitab in language conducted the survey and after we studied those research just mentioned just now? So what we are doing now is that we are transforming our teacher training program into a blended mode. So we combine synchronous and asynchronous learning. And the theme of our webinars or symposium are also related to the use of technology in language learning. For example, a webinar in April, the theme was improving teachers' foreign language competence in the digital era. And today, again, our theme is related to the language learning in the digital era. And please take note that in October 2021, we will conduct our 12th Eyes of All on the use of technology to assist teachers and students in language learning. So these are our first adaptation to address the requirements of language teachers. And in the future, so we would like to design our trainings to address the following needs. The first one is training on the use of digital platforms and tools. The second one is training on online language learning methodology. And the third one is training on online classroom management, lesson planning, and learning assessment. So, and another thing that we would like to share is that we want language teacher to master blended learning. That's why Ibu Veronica Sears will join us today to tell us about blended learning. So this blended learning at least will tell us as teacher how to integrate digital technology in language learning, how to motivate learners, how to develop blended learning, how to design blended learning sequence to best connect with and motivate learners. And the last one is how to assess learning outcome in a blended learning program. So, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude my presentation, we can see that the pressure to perform online learning has created opportunity for teachers to improve their knowledge, to master the use of technology for their own benefits. And the second one, the use of technology in language learning should not only perform during the pandemic, but it should be conducted consistently because we are now in the digital age. And as a training center, Semiokitab in language also needs to transform its training program to assist teachers to be resilient in the digital age. And the last one, we believe that transformation would not only beneficial for language teachers, but also to the students in language learning. So that's all I can share with you this afternoon. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Ibu Luh Anik Mayani, for a very insightful presentation talking about some programs of Sikil or Semiokitab in language that will be held. And I do agree with one of the conclusion of Ibu Luh Anik Mayani has stated before, that The use of technology in language learning should not only perform during the pandemic, but it should be conducted consistently. So even if this pandemic has been over, so we have to adjust ourselves to online learning also, to enhance and to elevate the quality of education itself, both for language teacher and also for the students. Thank you, Ibu Luh Anik Mayani. And for the next session, for the second presenter, our honorable keynote speaker is Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi. Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi achieved her Bachelor of Arts in English Literature from Pajajaran University, and then finishing her Master of Arts in TESOL Studies from the University of Queensland, then finally pursuing her doctorate in English Education from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. And now, Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi is a teacher professional development of Indonesia Technology Enhanced Language Learning, or ITELL, and also as an English lecturer in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia for Purwakarta campus. Also here, I have found that Ibu Vinita Dewi is a tutor also for online course and also online course material development. For some experiences also by Ibu Vinita Dewi, she ever worked for British Council Indonesia, also for Simeo Siemelek, and also active as a writer of academic publication. Now, without waiting for a long time, we welcome Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi to present the material entitled Optimizing Foreign Language Teaching and Learning Through the Utilization of Mobile Technology. For Honorable Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi, time is yours.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings for all the teachers participating in this webinar. First of all, I would like to thank Simeo Kitab in Language for inviting me to join such a great event. Thank you, Ibu Anik and the team. And also I would like to congratulate a happy anniversary for Simeo Kitab in Language. So today I'm going to start my presentation with just a quote. This quote is, wait a minute, I have to fix my the view of my slide first. Okay, teachers, I'm going to start with this. Teachers need rooms to play around with technology tools before utilizing them for teaching purposes. So what I'm going to do today, I'm just going to invite you to play with me, playing on some technology tools that we can use for language teaching. I've chosen some technology tools which can be used for many different kinds of language teachings, not only English. I might give you an example in English language teaching because I'm an English teacher, but then I think later you can try to adjust this, to play around with this and think about how it can be suitable for your context. So these are the 4 technology tools that I'm going to introduce to you. Let's start with the first one. It's Wheel of Names. What is it? So it's actually a kind of random selector. In Bahasa Indonesia, we know arisan, a kind of thing where we have to pick one name. And then basically a Wheel of Names is just a random selector for names. But then we can try to improvise our teaching by using this for many different kind of activities, like giving speaking prompts or review some vocabulary and then sentence making and many more. I'm going to invite you to join me in the example. So I know that you teach different languages, right? So you can respond to me by using the language that you teach. I'm going to show you one of my wheel of names here. Bear with me. Wait a minute. All right, I'm going to spin this, and if you see one picture, you have to write the name. What is it in the language that you teach? Okay, I'm going to spin this. What is it? Tell me right in the chat box. Please answer using the language that you teach. Kentang goreng, if you teach bahasa Indonesia, French fries, or some of the language I cannot read, but yeah, you know whether the answer is right or wrong. Okay, thank you. Let's spin it again. One more time. And see what you get. Hopefully you've got your lunch, so this doesn't make your appetite for lunch. Okay, what is it? In the language that you teach. Okay. Tell me if it is right or not. Roasted chicken, I don't know how to read that. Okay, geprek, I know that. Ayam panggang, if you teach BIPA. Le roasted something, ayam bakar. All right, so that's an example. I'm going to give you another example. And this time we are going to use two wheel of name at the same time. Let's see, hopefully my internet is friendly. So I'm still going to use this one. Okay. So I'm going to use the picture on food, and I'm going to add with picture of subject, whatever it is. Your mother, father, grandfather. Okay, I'll spin both of this. And now I want you to create one sentence using these two pictures. So you have that guy and that food. Make a sentence using these two pictures. Let me see. Anyone write the, not just policeman, but you need to write one sentence. The policeman is courageous. Okay, the policeman is eating fish. All right. The policeman dislikes steamed fish. Great. Policeman loves to eat steamed fish, and so on and so forth. Policeman has a fried fish for lunch. Sorry. Polisi makan ikan bakar. Okay. Great. So most of you teach English. Ibu Mary, sorry, I cannot read that, but I know there's a police and manger. Policeman is eating. So you can play around with this wheel of names, playing with pictures, one picture, two pictures, and ask your students to write sentences, even 3 pictures, right? Like for subject, and then the predicate or the verb and the object. You can play around with this. Let me get back to my slide. Is it this one? Okay. And it's not only picture, you can also use some sentences like questions prompt for speaking activities. I'm not going to show you this, but later when you access my slide, you can still play around with my wheel of names. Okay. So these are some other possible use of wheel of names for speaking and reflection prompt. If you want to know how to use it, you can access the tutorial videos that I have provided here. I'm not going to have enough time to show you how to do this, but just access my slide later. The second one, let's move on to Answer Garden. What is it? It's a garden full of words. Now I'm going to invite you to switch from talking about food to talk about sports. Can you see the picture there? And if you see the picture, I want you to think of 3 words related to the picture. Again, use the language that you teach. English, Bahasa Indonesia, French, Germany, what else? And I want you to go to the link. Don't write it in the chat box, but I want you to go to the link. If somebody can help me retype the link there. Okay, don't write it on the chat box, but please use, okay, thank you for helping me, Mbak Talita. Use the link that I have provided there. Don't write it on the chat box so that you can go to the Answer Garden. Use the link that I have provided there and write your 3 words inside the website. Write it there. Not in the chat box. Let's go there. Wait a minute. Got problems with my internet. Okay, you can keep writing on it while I'm working on my slide. Okay. The internet here is so frustrating because it's raining outside. So sorry for the technology glitch, but I hope you are there already. Let's see. Anyone here already? So actually, if we can open this, the Answer Garden, the 3 words that you put will be like a word cloud here. Ah, there it is. So many, because there are hundreds of people participating. So you can see there are so many words, and it can be used for the, brainstorming activities, building vocabulary, and you can have further activities like creating sentences from the words mentioned here, or comparing, contrasting, things like that. So there are so many activities that you can do using Answer Garden. So that's an example of Answer Garden. Again, if you you are interested to learn more about how to use Answer Garden, you can access the tutorial videos on my YouTube channel. So another possibilities of using Answer Garden is for visual thinking. So some students like to make things visual, can see everything, and then it's helpful for structure information or generate new ideas. Useful for brainstorming activities, bridging your students' knowledge to the topic you are talking about. And also it's good for pre or post reading or viewing activities. For example, you are going to give a kind of reading text to your students. Before they read the text, you can ask your students to brainstorm the vocabulary which probably occur in the reading text or in the viewing activities in the video. So you can use Answer Garden for those activities. And then the next one is, here is the tutorial video that you can access later. The third one is Fokeroo. This is one of the technology tools that I use to interact with my students if I'm not using video conference. Ibu Anik mentioned previously that students love to use Google Meet and Zoom for interaction with the teachers, but the problem is internet connection. So this one can be used for those staying or living in the low internet connection. They still can interact with the students, but with low bandwidth. So Fokeroo is a kind of recording, voice recorder actually. So it's a simple recording. You don't need to register. It can be easily shared and downloaded. And how we do this, let's see. This is very easy. That's why I'm going to show you. If, for example, you are going to give an instruction, the instruction on you post a picture and ask your students to think about 3 words. So I'm just going to click this button. Hello, students. Good afternoon. In this activity, I want you to think of 3 words related to the picture that I show in WhatsApp group, for example. And then I click stop. And if I think I'm okay with this, I will, I can replay here. Let me check. Do I share my sound? Okay, I can share my sound. Something wrong here. Let me retake. Hello, students. In this occasion, I'm going to ask you to write 3 words related to the picture. And then I stop it. And I can play it. And I can play it. Hello, students. In this occasion, I'm going to ask you to write 3 words related to the picture. And then so if you have that kind of instruction, and then you can share it by using this link. Copy it and paste it in anywhere you want to paste it. You can paste it in WhatsApp group, you can paste it in Telegram, or also in your Moodle or Google Classroom in your LMS. This way, you can connect with your students with your voice so that they can feel the existence of the teacher. And another thing that you can do is you can ask your students to respond to you using voice by recording their voice in Fokeroo. Just an example, just an idea for teaching. For example, like this, you have your teaching idea, you give a picture here and then ask your student to tell about sport that they like doing. And then you can ask your students to record the voice and then paste the link somewhere else. I think I still have time for demonstration. So let's try using Fokeroo. I have this picture. Tell us about sports that you like doing. And I want you to tell me using Fokeroo. So go to fokeroo.com and record your voice like 30 seconds. Tell us about your sport that you like doing. Copy the link and paste it in the chat box. Let's go. I think 3 minutes is okay. I'll be waiting in the chat box, waiting for your voice. So I can hear your voice, not only you can hear me, hear my voice. Thank you, Mbak Talita, for pasting the link. So you can click the fokeroo.com from the chat box. Pak Catur or Ibu Catur is the fastest. Now everyone can hear everybody's voice, okay?
Hello, my name is Chatur Fitriana. The sports that I like to do usually is swimming. I really love swimming. I usually do swimming with my daughter, my husband, etc.
Thank you. Great. Let's try one more or two more. Okay. I hope I can click somebody teaching not English. Whoa, so many.
Hello, Mrs. Pinita. I like swimming.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. I can see that so many of you playing with Fukaru, and you can see how easy it is for your student. So it's not going to make your student frustrated with technology glitch. They are going to be frustrated thinking about what they have to talk about, and that's okay. If your students don't like the voice that they record, they can always retake, right? I think it's good for kind of rehearsing speaking activities. They will repeat until they feel that they are satisfied with the speaking that they are going to send to the teacher. So that's Fokeru. Let's see some other possible teaching ideas. I might give them a kind of comic like this. And then I say, such a boring day. Got any fun ideas to do? And then ask my students to respond using Fokeru. Later, the platform can be adjustable. I usually use Telegram or WhatsApp as a variation of using Moodle or Google Classroom. So sometimes I need to change the online platform a bit. Maybe later you have another idea of using Fokeru for your teaching activities. And the last one. Again, if you are interested in learning about Fokeru, how to use it, or you forget, just access my slide, then you can directly click the video in a tutorial. The last one is Tricider. This one is a bit complex. The task would be complex. Dr. Ethel mentioned about language learning should be in line with 21st century skills. So this one can support students in doing a kind of critical thinking, decision making, collaboration, things like that. Let's see what Tricider can do with this. Mbak Talita, usually you are very fast in sharing the link. So let's go to this link and see if you can do the activity without too many instructions. Let's see. Let's go to this link. I purposefully use a link that I have used before so that you can see how we can use Tricider. So here I'm talking about extreme sport. And then I provide my students with some pictures, different kind of extreme sport. And then you can choose, please pick one of the extreme sport, click add argument, and then click plus if you want to try it and minus if you don't want to try it. So here there will be a pro and con. There will be argument from you, a critical thinking from you, explaining why you want to not try or why you don't want to try skydiving, for example. Let's try. Go to the link provided and click add argument. And then you can see minus or plus. Minus if you don't want to not try it, plus if you want to try it, and you can write your name here. Oops, for example. Sometimes if it is the first time you go to Tricider, it will prompt you with a sign up option, but you can just skip it. Just skip sign up. You can go on without registering. I'll give you some time to play around with this. Or you can also see here, there is an argument, there is an interaction, students and student interaction, teachers can also interact here, and then it's a low bandwidth. It doesn't need too much internet connection if you don't use it in Zoom like this. So you don't have to use it with Zoom. So hopefully some of you have tried. Oh, many of you click add ideas, but actually you'd better add argument down here so that you respond to the corresponding pictures. That's an option too. You can write here. Okay, I still have like 5 minutes left. So that's three-sider. So that's the fourth technology tools that I introduced to you. It's very simple. It can spark interesting debate. So when you think of the task in three-sider, it's better for you to think of something debatable, something which needs pro and cons, agreement and disagreement. So your students can think of how to give positive response or negative response. So it's potentially promote decision making and communication skills, and it's very good for 21st century skills. And if you want to know how to create three-sider, go to the video tutorial. Okay, so that's all the 4 technology tools that I have introduced, and you play around with that. Not too many theoretical things behind that, but I think you can adjust with your teaching styles, with your teaching belief, whether you want to use it in the brainstorming activities, whether you want to use it in the main activities, is it a post activity? It's up to the teachers, okay? Then, if you think that you want to know more, you can go to the link provided on the video tutorials. Try one at a time. Don't use the 4 of them at the same time. So for example, the first meeting with your students, try with Wheel of Names. And then the second one, when your students feel comfortable with Wheel of Names, you can move on to Answer Garden, Three-Sider, or Focus. It's up to you. But don't use them at the same time like what I did within this 25 minutes. It's going to be overwhelming for your students. And the last thing that I'm going to say is this. It's just to wrap my presentation. We've been talking about technology a lot. And then I have also given some ideas on the pedagogy behind the technology tools that you can use. I give you some teaching models in a very short description. And many people say that when we use technology, we have to think about the pedagogy first and then technology later. Or in other words, I'm borrowing the statement from Sankey. She mentioned that putting pedagogic horse in front of technological chart. So pedagogy should be the leader, the one who, how we start thinking the lesson and then followed with the technology. But then another ideas coming from Sui and Tafers saying that, well, actually the idea of pedagogy first, technology later is a bit obsolete. It's not up to date anymore, because now we can think of finding a new different way of teaching, a new pedagogical ways through the existence of technology. So technology can be the driver of pedagogical activities. Technology can give you ideas on how to teach certain skills, for example. So Sui and Taver mentioned that the relationship between technology and pedagogy is kind of dynamic interaction, just like lovers. And they can work hand in hand, harmoniously, not necessarily pedagogy first and technology later. So it's up to you how you're going to define the relationship between pedagogy and technology. As for myself, I personally use the second one because I frequently got new ideas of teaching when I encounter new different kinds of technology. Well, I think my presentation time is over. So I'm so grateful to be able to present my ideas today. And if you want to get access to my slide, you can go to that link. Batalita might be generously share the link on chat. And it cannot be downloaded. Why? Because by accessing this, then you can clicking so many links that I have provided there. If you want a PDF version, you can contact me or you can contact the committee because I have provided the PDF version too. So thank you very much and good afternoon. I pass my microphone to the moderator.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Vinita Dewi. What a very insightful presentation and bring new colors of teaching language to the students, especially for the online learning. And I myself think that it brings lots of ideas to share with students later on. There are wheels of names, yeah, but of course we have to keep it in our mind that we cannot use those four programs in the same time because the students will get overwhelmed. Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you, Ibu Vinita. But before it, I just want to see that there are 430 participants in our online webinar right now. I just want to greet some participants from Philippines. I don't know whether the way how I pronounce this word is right or not, but I just want to say mabuhay. So that's the way how to greet people in Philippines. I don't know whether it is good for pronunciation or not, but mabuhay for those from Philippines. Next, before we come up into the third presenters of our keynote speaker in our online webinar today, I would like to read some CVs, a short curriculum vitae of the third presenter. He is Bapak Pupung Purnawarman, PhD. So Bapak Pupung, Sir Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, achieved his Bachelor in English Language Education from Institut Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Bandung, Indonesia, and then finishing his Master in Curriculum and Instructional Technology from Southern Illinois University, and the last one pursuing his Doctor in Learning Sciences and Technologies, Instructional Design and Technology from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University of Virginia Tech. And today, Bapak Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, is a lecturer at Faculty of Language and Literature Education in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. As I have seen here in Bapak Pupung Purnawarman curriculum vitae, I see lots of works experience such as Vice Dean for Students Affairs in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Coordinator of Monitoring and Evaluation Project Implementation Unit, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and also lots of research experience, getting some hibah bersaing from Dikti, and then I see lots of publication, academic publication in reputable national and international journals. And just now I just checked the Scopus Index, very high Scopus Index. I think someday I hope I can learn from Bapak Pupung Purnawarman how to be able to publish articles in the Scopus area. But not more arguing now. We come up for the third presenter, Honorable Bapak Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, with a presentation entitled Maximizing Student Interaction in Online Learning Environment. For Honorable Bapak Pupung Purnawarman, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Tiar, as the moderator, for giving me the time to share my presentation, to share what I have read and learned together with everyone who is present here. And I'm aware that before me, there have been two great presenters presenting very interesting topics in relation to digital transformation and also the interaction. Now allow me to share with you my PowerPoint presentation slides. I hope I will have no problem in sharing the slides on the screen. Okay. Hold on. Okay. All right, so I have been very honored to be invited to share with you during this webinar, the CKIL webinar. And my topic is maximizing student interaction in online environment. I hope that my presentation, which is a little bit theoretical, I hope that it is not going to put everyone to sleep, especially as before me, Ibu Vinita already, presented a very interactive presentation. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, I hope that you will still be awake with me for the next 25 minutes. All right. So first, because my topic is about maximizing student interaction. So let's talk about student interaction a little bit. Hold on. Okay. I'm trying to move this. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm using new device. I'm still in the learning curve. Okay. All right. So interaction is one of the most critical elements in learning. As we know that without interaction, learning will not ever take place. Okay. So the interaction should be present in teaching and learning activities. And student interaction has a positive impact on learning. And it has been shown by many studies proving that student interaction improve achievement, improve learning effectiveness. And then interaction also helps cognitive development through, student interaction also helps cognitive development through social interaction. So this is in line with Vygotsky social presence theory that it is important to have social interaction in the classroom. And student interaction also leads to efficient teaching and learning activities in so many ways. Student interaction, as we know, that it may increase learner motivation. So by having interaction in the class, a learner will be motivated. You can imagine if there is no interaction in the classroom, so it will be only one-way communication. Maybe the teacher talks too much and then the students or learner just sit and listen. And that will be very boring. Interaction also increases satisfaction. So, and learner satisfaction is very important in the classroom, whether it is physical classroom or virtual classroom or in online learning environment. Interaction also increases participation. It also develops the communication skills and collaboration skills. And as our Bapak Dirjen earlier mentioned about the importance of the 21st century skills, the 4Cs. So interaction in this case at least has two of the skills, that is the communication and the collaboration. And that is very important to be developed in the classroom. And student interaction also increases student achievement. So by having more interactive activities, then student achievement will be improved. So as I said that these interactions supports at least two of the forces, the critical, especially the communication and collaboration, in addition to the creative thinking skills and creativity. All right, next, let's talk about the types of interactions. According to Michael Moore, there are at least 3 types of interaction. The first one is learner-content interaction. So in teaching learning activities, there should be interaction between students and the materials or the content. And in this case, we as teachers, we need to facilitate our students to be able to access the information, the instructional information, which is the material or the content, the learning content. And then the second one is learner-learner interaction. And this is very important because students, whether it is in the physical classroom or in an online learning environment, they need to interact with each other among the students, whether it is in pair or in groups. And the next one is interaction between the learner and the teacher. And this is also very important. The teacher should facilitate the communication or the interaction between the student and himself or herself as the instructor. And in addition to the 3 types of interaction, now with the emergence of new learning technologies, so the next important thing about the interaction is the learner and technology interaction. And this is very important for teachers. As Ibu Vinita earlier mentioned about whether it is pedagogy first and technology, or technology first and then pedagogy, or maybe it is a marriage between technology and pedagogy. What is important in this case is that the teacher should know what technology that fits correctly, rightly with the needs of learning. All right, next we move on to online learning environment because it is part of the topic. Okay, the online learning environment is online-based platform that offers learners and teachers many digital solutions that enhance learning experience. Some of the solutions are, for example, the existence of online games. For example, just in the previous session, it was shown. For example, some application like Decider, Vakaru, and so on. Okay, those are part of the solutions to enhance learning experience. And then online learning environment utilizes technology to supplement an in-class experience with digital communication, interaction, discussion, games, and students love games, everybody knows, right? Quizzes in terms of tests or in terms of fun games, activities, or maybe polls that run through the online learning environment. Okay, and then online learning environment or OLV is the system that offers teachers online-based solutions, which is aimed at creating interactive and active learning environment. It is very important, especially in online learning environment. We do not have full control of our students. So It is different from the traditional class, which everybody is in the same room. So creating interactive and active learning environment is very vital. And online learning environment can help teachers create, store, and disseminate learning materials, learning contents, plan the courses, plan the lessons, and enhance communication between students and teachers, whether it is through email traditionally or through electronic discussion group, the EDG, or in real-time activities. And online learning environment is usually housed within an LMS, learning management system, and it can facilitate synchronous or asynchronous engagement of the students. All right, enough with the online environment. Next, move on to student engagement. Student engagement and interaction. There is no interaction without engagement. So first we talk about engagement. Engagement is very important in teaching and learning activities. And according to an annual survey on student engagement, which was conducted by the CEEP at Indiana University, that survey revealed that 66% of the students surveyed are bored on a daily basis in school. So that is the data taken from the study, that most of the students are bored on a daily basis. And 17% of the students reported being bored in every class. So all the class that they are in, they get bored, 17% of them. Okay, sorry. And then the use of technology in the classroom may increase student interest and engagement. So to prevent our students from being bored, from being uninterested, or being or making them actively disengage from teaching learning activities, then the use of technology may help. So the use of technology may help increase students' interest and student engagement. And there are so many ways for us to use technology to increase students' interest and to make them engage in teaching and learning activities. Another study conducted by Gallup in 2013 mentioned or revealed that America's school reported that 55% of K-12 students in the US are engaged in the learning process. Only 55% engaged in the learning process, while 28% are not engaged. So they do not participate in teaching learning activities. And 17% of them are actively disengaged. So it's like they deliberately do not participate. And I think if we do survey like this, probably the result would not be very much different from what happened in Indonesia or in the Philippines or in Malaysia or in Thailand schools, in the Asian school. All right, so what is engagement? Engagement, student engagement is that the students being attracted to their work, they persistence despite there are so many challenges and obstacles, and taking visible delight in accomplishing the work. So in this case, if our students engage in our teaching learning activities, they will persist any challenges and obstacles, and they will overcome them, and they will stick to the plan, to the teaching and learning activities. And that is very good. Okay, and then effective technology integration. Okay, because we are talking about online learning environment, it is inseparable from technology, of course. So effective technology integration results in positive educational benefits, including increased student engagement, increased student motivation, organization, efficiency, and creative real-world applications. So if we would like to make our students engage and actively involved in teaching and learning activities, then we can use technology and we can integrate technology into teaching and learning activities. Student engagement also keeping the students to have the on-task behavior when they are allowed to use technology. So using technology will let them focus on the tasks, on the assignments given or provided by the teacher. And now move on to the next subtopic of our presentation, which is maximizing student interactions. There are two things that are important for us to keep in mind. In maximizing student interactions, we need to emphasize on learning motivation, student learning motivation, and facilitate effective learning experience. First, the motivation, okay? In improving the motivation, we need to create a strong presence of the teacher. We need to make them sure that we are there for them, okay? That they are learning online with us, not by themselves, okay? And then help learners believe that they can succeed. And this is very important to motivate them to be successful in studying or in learning. Okay, and then establish ways for students to monitor their progress. And it is important for them to know how they progress in their learning. And then build a sense of community. And this is also very important because they don't want to be isolated. They don't want to be alone by themselves. They need to be in the society, in the community, that they have friends, they have partners in studying. And then the next one is the effective learning experiences. Okay, in this case, we base learning activities on an orientation that supports learning. So we need to orient our students that what we are doing in the class is to support their learning, to support them to achieve learning objectives and learning goals. And then to reach the effectiveness of learning experiences, we need to apply learning principles that lead to better outcomes. We know that there are so many learning principles, but we need to know which learning principles are suitable for this context, which one are suitable for a different context, and so on. And then to be effective, activities need to be related to class and to the student's life. I think that is what we call the authentic learning. And then we need to plan effective interactions, okay? What kind of interactions are helpful for students, whether it is pair work or maybe group works or any other types of interactions. And then support self-directed learning. When they have to study by themselves, then we need to provide support. We need to make them sure of what that they know what to do and what to expect. And here are some tips to maximize students' online interaction. First, we can set polls or quiz questions. There are many applications available on the internet polls and also quizzes, okay, that we can use. And then we can use the chat box, especially if we are using Zoom, a video conference like this, like what we are using now, or maybe Microsoft Teams or Google Meet. Okay? So we can use the chat box for maximizing the interaction, or we can write on the board or the screen sharing. And then we use the record functions. So we can open the recording, and then we can listen and observe to what happened, and then we can use it to improve, okay, the next teaching and learning activities. And then we can create an information gap. Okay, so it will be interesting for some students when there is an information gap, so they are curious of what it is or what to do and so on. And this information gap will create curiosity, and that will improve or will increase interaction between student and teachers, and also among the students. And then involve students as a valuable resource. We know that our students now, they may know more than teachers. Okay, so we can make use of our students as valuable resources. And then we can plan our interaction patterns, whether it is one by one or pair works or group works, maybe small group or big group, large group interaction, and so on. And then there are some ways to maximize student online interaction. For example, we can prepare our students for the online learning activities. We need to plan ahead of what they are going to have, and make sure that whatever activities that we are going to give them, they should be meaningful and they should be related to the learning objectives. And then review learning objectives and the outcomes. Make sure that we have our learning objectives clear, and make sure that our students know the objectives and know what to expect. And we have to make sure that we can have the outcomes as stated in the objective. And then we need to present clear and organized learning materials, prevent isolation. We cannot let our students feel isolated. Okay, we need to know that we are here, we are together. So increasing the presence of teacher is important, and it is important also to build a learning community, just like in regular class, physical class. And then in order to have maximum student online interaction, we need to deliver bit-sized, small chunk and spaced learning. So do not give them too much information. So we need to give them, bit by bit, okay, little by little information, so they are not going to be overwhelmed. And then we need to involve students to take action on what they have learned. And we need to provide regular feedback. And this is very important, because as teachers, we need to provide feedback for them, so the students will know how they perform, they know what their strengths, and they know what improvements that they need. And that is through regular feedback. And then make time for fun. So this is very important, because if the teaching and learning activities are fun, they will be happy, and students' happiness lead to student success in learning and in achieving learning objectives. And to involve students in...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes? How many more minutes I have? Yes.
Yeah. Can our time is almost over, sir. So
okay.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry
for interrupting you.
All right. Okay. Do I have like 2 more minutes?
Yeah. 2 more minutes. It's okay.
All right. So probably I'm just going to go to this. Okay. So especially as we are talking about online learning environment, so we as teachers, we need to know what technology to master. Okay, and there are 4 steps to mastering technology tools. As we know, there are so many technology tools useful for teachings. So as teachers, we need to find the right tools. Okay, if we want to teach vocabulary, what technology tools we need to use. For example, if we are teaching, let's say, storytelling, then what kind of technology that is right? And then we need to introduce one tool at a time, so our students will not be overwhelmed. And also, it will be effective if they can master one technology tools at a time. And then as teachers, we need also to evaluate technology, because we need to know whether this technology is useful or is appropriate, and whether it is easy to use, and so on. And then we use technology to engage our students. Okay, and make sure that we use technology to make them engage in our teaching and learning activities. And then let me go to the last slide. It is very important for teachers to know how to integrate technology to teach effectively and to facilitate student interaction and to maximize student interaction in our classes, whether it is physical classrooms or in online learning environment. And we need to keep in our mind that the use of technology in this case is to help our students understand the subject matter, because we are using technology not for the technology's sake, but it is to help our students to understand the subject matter, and then to help our students engage in learning activities, and we can maximize it to the fullest. And then last but not least is to help students achieve their learning goals and their learning objectives. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bapak Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, for a very insightful tips. Yeah, for teachers, especially for language teachers, in maximizing their teaching learning process, especially for online classroom learning. Yeah, now we come up for the 4 presenters of our keynote speakers today. It is from Ibu Veronique Sears. Ibu Veronique Sears, PhD. So Ibu Veronique Sears, PhD, has finished her Doctor of Philosophy or PhD in Language and Letters in 2015, and also University Catholic de Louvain. University Catholic de Louvain started from 2003 to 2007, then continue again in 2013 up to 2015. But now, Miss Veronique Sears is a pedagogical manager of Altisia, started from February 2016 up to present time. So Ibu Veronique Sears has more than 10 years of experience in language learning and teaching as a certified linguist with a PhD in linguistics. Ibu Veronique deals with a variety of audiences in different environments and contexts. Now we welcome the Honorable Miss Veronique Sears, PhD. Time is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here today and letting me talk. I'm very honored to be here with you today. For me, it's early morning. I'm in South Africa. I would have loved to attend all the previous talk, but I was just able to attend Mr. Dr. Purnawarman's talk. Sorry for butchering the name. But it was very interesting, and you'll see that there are loads of parallels to what I'll be talking about here as well now. I'll be sharing my screen with you. Let me just see if I can do that. Wait.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yes. I can. Yep, here we go. All right. So I have a second screen to my left. Can you see it now? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I have a screen to my left, so I will be looking left on occasion. So you see why I'm not looking at my camera. Okay, so we'll be talking about improving learning outcomes with blended learning. We've been talking a lot, especially in the previous talk as well, technology with all the COVID situation, the various lockdowns, semi-lockdowns, quarantines. Of course, we have been increasing the amount of teaching we do with technology. And in the end, we end up doing a lot of blended learning in the end. It's just to be all at the same page, just see what I mean when I talk about blended learning. So blended learning is a teaching form, obviously, that combines face-to-face classes where we have a teacher leading the class. These classes can be in a physical classroom, or they can also be in a video conference. What's important here is that we have the synchronous real-time element and the teacher-led element as well. And then we combine that with a remote autonomous learning element. That's the online learning element. And what's very important in our definition is that this combination is done, and I really use this word combination very willingly, and I'm emphasizing that, and we'll be talking about that a lot, is really to combine them in a complementary way within a well-structured and well-defined curriculum. So that's very important for our blended learning, that we have this curriculum, that we have this idea of something complete. So that also means what blended learning is not. Blended learning will not be like an identical transposition of what we've been doing in traditional classroom teaching. So we can't just use the same things, put them online and just think it's going to work. But it really, the idea is here to really combine the strength, the advantages of as well as classroom teaching, but also of the online component, to really combine them to have something great, even better than what we'd usually do. That's the theory, at least. It's not always easy. So, of course, there are advantages of integrating an online component. Sometimes teachers are a bit reluctant. They don't like it that much. There's also this idea of maybe, what if we are replaced by technology? But we've seen in the previous talk as well that technology is a great thing to motivate, engage learners. And the idea is not to use, I'm quoting Dr. Purna Warman here, to use technology for technology's sake, but really to make it great and make it a good use out of it. So why integrate an online component other than we don't have a choice, we're stuck at home due to COVID? Well, online components, online learning has the advantage that, of course, it's available anytime. It makes our learners very autonomous. Their needs can be specifically targeted. We can, if we have very heterogeneous groups, we can actually use our learners, make our learners work differently on different topics, different focuses. We can differentiate, we can maybe remediate if we need to. And also there's one component that shouldn't be underestimated. It's also the idea of automatic correction and instant feedback. That will, of course, depend on the tools you're using, what you have, if you have an LMS or an online platform. But this, of course, can also be something very interesting to use and can also have us save a lot of time. And of course, you have a variety of devices, resources, and media that will allow your learners to learn whenever they can or want, because it's not always easy if you're working from home, for example, you have to accommodate your children or a busy household or anything. So it's really when you can. So you have this freedom of working when you want. And also you can work maybe even in the bus, on the train or something on a mobile device as well. So there are loads of advantages to having an online component. Let's just take a look at how we can really combine those two to have optimal blended learning. So we have been working on these keys. These are our favorite keys. They're not the only ones, obviously, to make successful blended learning, but it's like our favorites, our top 6, to really make a good, efficient blended learning, to engage our learners, because motivation and learner engagement is, of course, a key, because that will help us increase our learning outcomes and reach our targets as well. And of course, it makes the whole thing a lot more fun for trainers and learners alike. So as I mentioned, I'm going to repeat a lot of what Dr. Purnawam has been saying. Here, the idea, of course, is also to have our course planned as a coherent whole. As I mentioned earlier, we have our 2 components of our class. We have the online component and we have the face-to-face component. The thing is, they shouldn't just coexist and not be linked, just in parallel. The idea is really to have a coherent whole, that we have a whole complete curriculum, as I mentioned earlier, where we, of course, define our teaching objectives that are in line with assessment and, of course, the choice of activities. The big difference to, let's say, more traditional classroom teaching is, of course, that we have our activities and our assessment that can take place and also should reach both of our modes, so the face-to-face and the distance mode. So that's the big difference here. So we can have assessment in both modes, assessment on materials seen in both modes, and of course activities that are split. What's very important in blended learning is really to find the formula that suits you as a trainer or your institution and your learner. So you really need to find a way to find your own recipe. I always like to use the metaphor of blended learning, which I compare a bit to, making pancakes. Probably everybody makes pancakes, but everybody has their own little secret recipe, a secret ingredient, a little tweak they're using, something that makes it their own. And that's really important in blended learning or in any teaching, actually, where you really make it your own, find your own style. The advantage is blended learning is very, very, very flexible, be it in the time repetition, be it in the duration, be it in the different models you can use. So you can have blended learning. You find a lot of different time repetitions in the literature, in the scientific literature. A good average, and the average we've been using and we've settled on, is between 30 and 79% of time spent learning online. So you can have a larger proportion of face-to-face learning, or you can have a larger proportion of distance learning, or you can have a perfect balance between the two. It's really up to either the trainer or the institution, because I know that the trainers don't always have the liberty to choose. But of course, for your institution also, there's budgeting, there's personnel costs. So there's a lot of things that have to be taken into account. But you have this flexibility of really choosing which formula suits best. Then you can also determine the frequency and the duration of the different sessions, be it online or face-to-face. Especially for the online part, we all know, we've noticed that digital fatigue is really a thing. People get easily bored when working online autonomously, and even in class people get bored, as we've seen before. So the idea is really to keep motivation up, concentration up, get good retention rates, which is why we usually recommend more shorter sessions, but maybe more repetition. So maybe more frequent, shorter sessions, which also allows our learners more flexibility. As I mentioned, it's not always easy to find time to learn. It's frequently easier to find 20 minutes or half an hour within a day rather than finding an hour to 2 hours to work on something. So the likelihood of actually having learners do the activities is higher if you do just smaller and shorter activities. And then, of course, you have the different models of blended learning. So the main models you can find are either rotational models that are more in-class station rotation models, where you have still this online autonomous component. It's just not done remotely. It's just on a station separately, but it's still autonomous in that the trainer or the teacher will be working with another part of the group. That's a model that's used a lot for children in K-12 teaching, for example. For adult teaching, we tend to use more of the sequential models. There are different ones as well, so you can really choose which one works for you. The idea is really that you have your learners work autonomously from home or work, but online where the trainer is not physically present, and then have this classroom component, the teacher-led component. The flipped classroom, the famous flipped classroom, is one of these models as well. So you can really work on what works for you or to engage your learners as well. So again, what you feel comfortable with as a trainer. I really don't like giving advice to trainers. It's so different because what works for one person will not work for the other. So we give advice, we give tips, and the idea is to exchange. But really, I think we can all learn from one another, but everybody in the end needs to find what works for them. Then let's move on to the choice of activities in each mode. We've all noticed that with the right tools, we can do a lot more than we maybe initially thought in the online component as well. And so you have this flexibility again in blended learning of really making it your own, and you choosing your activities and the modes for the activities really as you're really at liberty to do so, and you can really do whatever you want where you want it, with the possible exception maybe of written interaction, which is really more at home in a virtual in the virtual world, because it's like messaging, instant messaging, and all these elements. So it's very linked to social media messaging tools. It's very, well, as I said, it's homed in the virtual world. Let's take a closer look at this. So we have this flexibility. So we could potentially do grammar either online or face-to-face. There are trainers, there are teachers who really love teaching grammar, myself among them. So I really love teaching grammar. So I really like teaching it in a face-to-face mode. But it's also fun to have them do it at home, online, do some exercises, and then come back to it in a flipped classroom kind of, model, where you then get back to it and they're prepared already. And you can just go deeper, more into detail, see some exceptions, see more real-life applications. So the idea is really that you can do it where you want. But there are some recommendations we usually give, and that would be to, as you can see here on our two puzzle pieces at the bottom, is maybe to use the online mode, the autonomous online mode, for more receptive activities. Or activities such as written production. These activities that can be slightly disruptive in class, where sometimes, let's take, for example, listening comprehension as an example. You have some learners who will need one listening. They can answer the questions. They're fine, they're done. But others will need 2-3 repetitions of the text, and so they will be taking more time. So you have the first group getting bored, the second group stressing because they're keeping the others up. So it's all, and then it's very difficult to get back to order and concentration and focus once you need to get the class to focus again. So using this in online learning, in the online component, is of course is ideal, because those who need more repetition get it. Those who need less repetition have their own way. They don't get bored. They can move on to the next activity. So everybody can really work at their own pace. Same goes for written production. Here, of course, it's more if you need an exercise, or depending on which environment you can use. If you have tools that use proctoring, if you don't want your learners to use dictionaries, translation tools, correction tools, etc. So that's more of a question that will really depend on the tools you can use, but written production can also be very efficient in the online component. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you can do differentiation or remediation if you see that your group is very heterogeneous, that some people might need to catch up on some elements, where you can do this without interrupting a face-to-face class. They can do it in the comfort of their own home when they have time, but they can work on that at need and in a very targeted way. And then use the face-to-face component. As I mentioned, face-to-face can be in an actual brick-and-mortar class, or then in a virtual classroom for more like oral production or interaction, and also explanation, further information, all these elements where you need some more human interaction, and where it's simply also a lot more fun to do these elements in class all together in a group with the peers, so oral production, especially in interaction. But what's very important here, as you can see that I'm using here puzzle pieces, and that's really the idea, is that these puzzle pieces are one part each of a whole, and that's very important, is that they're always connected, that we always have a link between these two components. And that's my next bit. That's really, this link is really important to connect, as I mentioned, not to have our two components or two modes separate, but really show that it's important to do it, because that's a complaint we hear a lot from trainers doing or teachers doing blended learning, where they'll tell us stuff like, yeah, but our learners, they don't do the online part. Why? And you actually notice that the learners neglect it because they perceive it as secondary, because the trainers, the teachers don't get back to it. They don't show that it's important. And so it's not perceived as a part of the coherent whole. And so it's very important as trainers to really make this link, to connect our learners to the e-learning component and the whole of the teaching program. And that can be done through a lot of elements. So it can be done through activities, also revision, and also through the assessment. And of course, also through monitoring the activities our learners are doing online, and also support. So we could do this link, make this link, this connection through activities and review. One good way to do this kind of activity would be to use icebreaker activities at the beginning of your next class. So you could have your learners prepare a text, for example, listen to something, watch a video, anything. And once you get back to the next face-to-face class, maybe you've all been doing this, but as a good icebreaker, it could be a quick quiz. That can be either, it could either be an interactive quiz using all these different quiz apps. You have some examples on the screen where they can use their phone to just answer quickly, or you can do quizzes. I know that pre-app time, I used to use little softballs where I just throw the ball to someone and the person who catches it had to answer the quiz. So you get over this, this reluctance to speak, and they know that, well, they will be brought into the class from the very beginning. They need to be in it. So the ice is broken and they're in the class, they're focused, and they come prepared most of the time. Another option could also be using brainstorming activities, mind maps, where you could have them write keywords either as a group on the black or whiteboard in the class, or as a smaller group where they could come up with a couple of keywords, or also they could have a mind map they should complete during the online learning and then come back with it to class. That could also work. Other options could, of course, be like reaction, short videos, short statements. They could film themselves on their phones, just take a short video to send their opinion in on the text they've just read or something, write a short statement, a short summary, or a picture description task, anything that could just, connect the classroom work to what they've been doing autonomously online, to really show, okay, this is important and we're going to build on this. So you can use it in a very complementary way. So these are just some ideas. Maybe you have more. Don't hesitate to also share maybe with colleagues what you do. It's always a good way to interact. Then another way to make this link is through assessment. One easy way, it still includes math, but it's really to show that you value the time spent online. So that would mean that part of the assessment of the final mark learners get would be the time they spent online. So for example, if they're required to spend at least, 2 hours a week, just putting something there, online, on the online learning, maybe a platform or something, well, they could be part of the assessment, could go into that. And then as a trainer, as a teacher, you check in the reporting system, in the tracking system, whether or not they've been doing it. And so they get their marks according to that. That's one way to do that. If you're using a platform where this is an option, a platform or an LMS as well. Then you can also, of course, check the mastery of the content studied online with revision quizzes and all these elements. So this could also be entailed in that. This is like more formative assessment, or then also the final evaluation, the final assessment, where you could take the online work into account, and of course also the material and the elements seen in the online part of the learning process should of course be taken into account in the final assessment. Sometimes it's forgotten. It's kind of obvious, but it needs to be mentioned because sometimes people forget. Next element, so this is our link. The next element would be monitoring and supporting learners. Learners need support, and especially less advanced learners, beginners need a lot of support. And so we really need to help them progress, become more autonomous. So how can we do this? In an ideal world, we could maybe adapt the proportion of face-to-face time for beginners and then increase the online component progressively. Could work if we have this option. We don't always have to have this option. We could also do shorter, more regular sessions for beginners, very short sessions, and then increase the time spent learning again. Could work if you have this option. Sometimes we don't, so we just make do with what we have. But it can help for beginners, especially because everything they learn is new, obviously, and so they will need more repetition to reach this retention rate and also get the learning techniques and methodology in place. And then they get more efficient as time goes by. But what I really want to emphasize is that working online, even autonomously online, can be very beneficial for beginners because, well, as I mentioned, they can work at their own pace. So if they need more repetition or they need to read longer to read the text, well, they can do it, and at least they finish the task and they can do the questions. They can look up words. They can look up the pronunciation. They can also prepare communicative tasks. For example, you can ask them to prepare a short discussion you'll have in class or a dialogue or anything. You know, these, especially beginners, feel very incompetent, and they need to feel competent, and they need to be able to prepare. If they prepare, they're more likely to talk because they feel more confident. They will be able to look up words, phrases, some chunks they might be needing, pronunciation of words, and they come to class prepared, and they're actually less reluctant to talk. One other element that's not on there is also having your learners maybe also, as I mentioned earlier, the idea of recording themselves in a video from home in the autonomous online work can help them to produce, you know, these learners that feel very self-conscious and don't dare speak up in class. So you can actually help them get over the stress of production by having them just film themselves at home. So that can also help. So that's also another way of doing this. So we need to support them, of course, during the learning process, but we also need to plan for time to support them even more. So time to explain and listen. So, and I think that's also something Dr. Ponawoman said before me. They need to understand how the course works, how the tools work, and what is expected of them. So you can't just say, okay, these guys are digital natives. They'll figure out how to use the app, program, platform, anything. That's not the target. You need to really take the time to explain to them how it works and why we're using this and why and how I as a teacher want to be using this. So they really understand again that it's part of the teaching process, a part of a coherent whole, and that they understand why we're doing this. So if we explain a bit more, of course, how the course works, they will be more engaged in the course because they're just understanding, they feel connected to the course. Of course, also talk about evaluation. That's always usually the first question learners will ask is, what about the final exam? At least that was like this for my university students. It's usually one of the first questions we get. And then also give them time to ask questions and also have some methodological reflection and feedback. That means that not only do we as teachers provide feedback, but also why not talk to that depends on the students, but on the students as well, get feedback from them. It's like, okay, have you been doing the online work? Why have you not been doing it? What did you like? What didn't you like about it? So we can also improve our work as teachers with new tools, find new ideas to do something that will really engage us learners. And again, learners will feel more implicated in the course. They feel more engaged, and then again, they're more motivated because there's also this connection that's been done. So this is very important as well. And that joins this idea of the socio-emotional bond, but within learners, like the learner group, but also with the trainers. Because as trainers, we're really at the heart of the blended learning. We are always at the heart of the learning process, but we're really connecting the learners, as I said, also with the e-learning, the technology, and the learner. So we're really this connection. So we will be helping them to make all these connections and really be at the center of the whole thing. So we really need to take this time to, inform, communicate, tell them what to do. So they feel comfortable. They feel confident in their learning because they know what is expected of them and what they need to do. We can guide them. We can monitor, of course, their activities in the online process and in class. We can monitor their progress also. We verify the knowledge they acquire. We give feedback. We make this link, this connection, and we create this climate of trust and where we can encourage interaction and collaboration between learners. So this is very important so that they feel comfortable to speak, even though they don't feel comfortable speaking in a foreign language, but they feel comfortable enough in our group, safe enough. We provide this environment where they actually dare to speak and voice their opinion or whatever we're asking of them. So that is very important also. Finally, as trainers also, and that is also maybe it links also to teacher training in a more digital area, in a more digital world, is really how to, as a teacher, it seems like a lot of work to do blended learning or to use technology. Sometimes you're a bit lost because you need to do a lot of research, find the right tools, find how to use them, train your learners. It's a bit different and you need to feel comfortable with it. So that's very important. And one way to do this is also to not be alone. Work as a team. Peer collaboration is a good thing for our learners, but it's also a good thing for trainers, for teachers. So that means, of course, also that institutions. Yeah. Are we over?
Sorry for interrupting you, but I just want to remind you for maybe extension of 2 minutes time more?
I'm done. This is the last one, so then I'm done. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much for letting me time to finish. So yeah, so for institution, it's important to also provide this background for trainers, for teachers to, you know, give them the time, the training and support, initial and continuous. If you want them to use a particular tool, take the time to train them, or ask the company that provides the tool to train them and support them in technical support, but also pedagogically, and also to give time for pedagogical meetings where trainers can work all together and maybe get ideas from one another, have this cultural exchange between colleagues. They can share resources, and we have this open attitude where you don't judge someone or guilt trip someone, but really help them to find the right way to make this blended learning their own, because that is very important. So this is just a quick summary of the different things, but really just make blended learning your own as a teacher is very important, because we are at the heart and we really need to find a way to do this in order to really engage our learners in a successful blended learning process. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for giving me those 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for Ibu Veronique Sears just now, who has presented a very insightful keys for a successful blended learning. Yeah, I do hope for all of us as the participants have taken notes just now. And now, as the next agenda, for about 20 minutes, we will have a question and answer session. So for those participants who wants to ask questions, you may write the question in the Q&A box down in your screen. And the committee has taken and chosen some questions from the participants. Here it will be displayed in your screen for the committee. Yeah. Here the first questions from Jovit Kaman from Philippines. Mabuhay, sir. To Dr. Luh Anik Mayani. The question is, will there be a time that KITAB will become an avenue for postgraduate studies program that will be recognized by the ASEAN community? Yeah, this is for Dr. Luh Anik Mayani. Time is yours, Ibu.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Tiarma. So thank you for the question from the Philippines. So whether or not Simeo Kitabin language has an opportunity for postgraduate students, in Simeo Kitabin language to join our program, which are recognized by the Asian community. So what I can inform you, for the time being, we have a program which is called School Literacy Club. So we try to promote this School Literacy Club program to be to cover the Asian countries, especially countries whose PISA score below the average score of 487. So these 5 countries are Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines. So for the time being, we try to promote this program to Simeo Secretariat, and the Center Director meeting will be held next week. So we will see. So if this program is supported and agreed by Simeo centers and other partners, so I think in the future, Simeo Kitabin language will have program in which the intern students can participate in our program and will be recognized by the Asian community. So I think that's the info, Ms. Dharma. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Nilu, and it's clear enough for the answer of the question. And then the second one is from Yusniar Indonesia. Salam, Ibu Yusniar. To Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi, would you please to give me the best tool or application for students to make them effective in speaking English, and how the best way to increase them in speaking? Yeah, time is yours for Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Tiarma. Thanks for the question again. Well, it's not easy to say the best tool, because the best tool is the one works in your class, not in my class. The best tool for my class is not the best tool for your class. But for teaching speaking, for example, what we need to think is not only the technology tools. First is the task. Would the task suitable for the students? Would the task is easy enough or difficult enough for the students? And then the instruction is because we are teaching in online learning situation where we cannot meet the students. So it means that we need to have a very clear instruction for our students. And then the next one is support. What kind of support that teachers can give to the student when they are accomplishing the task. And you need to think about that. And after that, you also need to think about the technology tools. Is it, do you think that students can access high bandwidth or low bandwidth? If it is a low bandwidth, then you can try using Pokeroo, for example, the one that I showed you. But if it is in a high bandwidth, you can also try Flipgrid. I will write in a chat later. Flipgrid is a video-based speaking activity. And well, we can see that video-based probably more interesting for the students or less interesting for those who are shy or not really have a good confidence. So the best tool is the one work in your class. So you need to try one or two technology tools and the instruction, then you can find what's best for you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu Vinita. Yeah, that's right. We have to adapt with our students and facilities that they have. Now we come up for the third questions. It is from Mariana. Mariana, so they have same question. Mariana, Yusniar, Muhammad Mahir Hakiki, Nora, Leonardo David, to Bapak Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, and Ibu Veronique Shears, PhD. The question is, how to maximize online learning for the less motivated students, and then the students who have difficulties accessing the technology, such as those in the remote area. So time is yours for Honorable Bapak Pupung Purnawarman.
All right, thank you very much for the questions. Can you show me again the questions? I easily forget things.
The committee, please.
Yes. Okay. How to maximize online learning for less motivated students. This is, and also the students who have difficulties accessing technology, okay, in remote areas. All right. These two are very good questions, but it's a little bit challenging, okay, to answer. Maybe not in 30 seconds, right? But I think for the less motivated students, the challenge is how to make them motivated. So in this case, I think we need to have a special approach, how to approach our students. And, you know, each teacher knows how to approach his or her students effectively. So let's say we can approach them as a teacher, or we can approach them as a friend, for example. So we can talk to them as a friends, and I think there will be no barrier between friends. And when the communication between the students and the teachers that looks like a friend, you know, between friends, I think the students will be more open to our suggestions. And at that time, we can give them some motivation, make them realize how important learning is. And especially because this is the pandemic era, so online learning is maybe one of them, if not the only option to learn. Okay, so what we need to do is to approach them in such a way that they will be open to us, and they realize that learning is for them, and that learning is important for them. And then for the second question, how to help students with difficulties accessing the technology, such as those in remote area. So in this case, probably online learning is not the best one to work. However, we have the responsibility to help our students to learn, whether it is online or maybe offline. So in this case, if they have difficulties to access online learning, then we can use any modes of learning delivery. Okay, so we can deliver learning materials electronically. It can be through emails, or maybe we can create some materials in CDs or DVDs, or maybe in flash drive, and we can send them to the students in remote areas, so they still can they still can have access to learning materials. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bapak Pupu. Maybe Ms. Veronique, do you want to add more explanation towards this question?
I think this was already a very, very good explanation. Just maybe to the remote area learners. Of course, this is a big issue, and I think the ideal solution hasn't been found. I mean, it's an issue you have in Asia. It's an option we have a lot here in Africa as well. So it's a big problem. Yeah. So the idea is also maybe to find tools that have an offline mode that can happen as well, where you can actually choose the bandwidth that will be used to accommodate also the different issues. You also have, for example, Zoom. You can use your phone to phone in as well into the conversation, where you might not have video, you might not see the screen, but you can at least talk. So these elements can be helpful to accommodate. I think the very important thing here is, in the pandemic period anyways, is to show, be it for motivation or remote areas, is always to show flexibility, to show understanding and kindness to one another. Because if we put stress on people, they will be even less motivated. And I think we all need to be flexible and very patient right now, and find solution. And the ideal world doesn't exist, so we just have to make do with what we have and what we can. So we need to be kind to us and one another.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Veronique Sears, for the answer. Now we come up into the next question. Do we still have any time? Let me see. 1 minute more. So that's all the question and answer session. We have one more. I think this is the last question, yeah, based on the time. So this is from Mr. Mewtu Singh from Myanmar to Ibu Dr. Luh Anik Mayani. During the revolution, we were facing difficulties. How can foreign language study and education programs be expanded after the revolution? So time is yours, Ibu Dr. Luh Anik Mayani.
I think, thank you, Ms. Yarma. So I think, can you please show me the question again? Yeah. Thank you. I think I need to reconfirm to who was that? The
committee, please.
Yes. Thank you. So Mr. Myo to shine. So I need to maybe I need to confirm what is the revolution do you refer to here? So I mean, which revolution is it? The industrial revolution? I'm not so sure if then I can answer the question correctly, Ms. Tiarma. So if the revolution here refers to the industrial revolution 4.0, so I think the foreign language study in this technology or digital era is is very well developed. So there are technologies which can help us, make us easier to learn any language that we want to learn. For example, by collaborating with the Altisia online learning platform, we can see how Simeo Kitabin language can serve 600 teachers across Southeast Asia countries. So I think the Industrial Revolution 4.0 is, beneficial to the language study in this era. I think that's my comment. Thank you. I hope I answer it correctly, because I'm not sure if the revolution refer here is the industrial revolution. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Lohanik Mayani. That's all for our question and answer session. Sorry, because we are achieving the time for taking conclusion. So we have listened for insightful presentation from the presenters, and I'd like to conclude what we have learned today, that the situation of pandemic, of course, brings a lot of change in our life, especially for teaching and learning process. So we have a replacement from face-to-face learning into the online learning. So it needs a huge adaptation both for teacher and students. But besides all of the lackness of learning platforms, lackness of time, and lackness of teachers' ability to adapt with the student situation. But we both teacher and students must collaborate, must have a great engagement, and also both for teacher, especially for teacher, what I assume from Ibu apa tadi Vinita says that which comes first, pedagogy or technology, but today's in industrial revolution 4.0, we have to have an engagement, a dynamic engagement of pedagogy and technology, so we can have the students to be attracted to work on their learning process. Of course, I forgot from whom just now, but I got this sentence: advancing education is our duty. Yes, I do agree with this statement. Advancing education is our duty. So we have to work as a team, not only teacher and students, but also all of the stakeholder of education, started from government, schools, teachers, students, and also parents. So if we have worked as a team, hopefully the teaching learning process will run well, and also we can elevate the students' knowledge. Of course, it will also elevate our nation. So thank you for all of the participants who have joined us today in SIKIL webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in digital era. At last, I just want to greet all of the participants, because I see that the participants come from different areas, different nations. Yeah, I try to find out from Philippines. Finally, Mabuhay. From Thailand, Sawadeka. From Laos, PDR, Sabaidi. From Vietnam, Xin Chào. From Cambodia, Tek Tong. From Malaysia, Indonesia, I think. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Thank you so much. Now I give this microphone to the Master of Ceremony. Ibu Ardel, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for our 4 resource person of this webinar, Dr. Lohanik Mayani, Dr. Vinita Dewi, Mr. Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, and Ms. Veronique Charles, PhD. Also, we would like to thank Ms. Tiarma Intan Marpawong, who has chaired the session very gratefully. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we take a short break, we would like to invite all resource persons, our Miss Moderator, and Board of Directors of Simeo Kitab and Language to turn on the camera, put on your best position, and smile for the virtual photo sessions. And for the other guests in panelist room, with all due respect, I kindly ask you to turn off your camera for a little moment during the photo sessions. We will take another moment for the committee. Okay. Committee, are we ready to take the photo?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we will now take the first photo. Please be ready. Let me count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now for the other one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to have a 10-minute break. And during the break, we will play the participants' testimony on our online training on teachers' competence improvement that was held for 3 months from 5 April to 5 July 2021. At 4:25 p.m. Jakarta time, we will continue the session with our last agenda for today, that is closing ceremony. Thank you.
Hallo, mein Name ist Ulanda Mayanti. Ich bin zurzeit 11 Jahren an der SMA N5 Taruna Brawijaya Jawa Timur, Indonesia Deutsch unterrichten. Es freut mich sehr, an dieser Fortbildung teilnehmen zu können. Die Zeit ist sehr flexibel, dass ich meine eigene Tempo regeln kann. Das ist sehr gut für die Lehrkräfte mit vielen Aufgaben. Ich hoffe, es gibt noch weitere Fortbildungen, die so gut wie diese ist. Vielen Dank, Simeo Kitab and Language. Auf Wiedersehen.
Hello, I am Ling Ing and I'm from Cambodia. I'm an English teacher at ICE Academy. I'm really grateful for being one of the participants to join the online training on teachers' language competence improvement. This e-learning program provides great learning opportunities to different teaching professionals to develop skills of their language expertise. These online platforms are designed for different categories of learning contents and tasks, and especially the flexibility for learners. At the end of the training period, there will be certificates given to the participants. I believe that different learning concepts will be developed and open to more participants in the future. Thanks to the organizers for this amazing learning experience.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Kori Hafiza Al-Husna, je viens de l'Indonésie. Je suis enseignante de français au lycée SMA Kapin Jakarta depuis un an. Je suis très content de participer à formation en ligne pour l'améliorer des compétences des enseignants de langue. Dans cette formation, je peux apprendre indépendamment avec une application Alticia pendant 3 mois. Grâce à cela, je peux enrichir mes connaissances et mes compétences de langue française, comme la compréhension orale, la compréhension écrite, grammaire, la prononciation et aussi beaucoup de vocabulaire. J'espère que Shikil pourra organiser plus de formations en ligne, par exemple sur la compétence sur la production écrite des enseignants de langue. Enfin, Je remercie Asikil qui m'a donné cette opportunité. Bon succès!
Gelegenheit, ich möchte mich Ihnen vorstellen. Mein Name ist Mariana Mausali. Ich arbeite als Deutschlehrerin in der SMA Kristen 2 Kalabait seit 2019. Aber eigentlich lehre ich Deutsch seit 2018. Mein Land ist Indonesien. Meine Heimat ist Alor Insel in NTT. Ich bleibe begeistert, obwohl das nicht einfach ist. Ja. In der gleichen Zeit muss ich meine anderen Aktivitäten tun. Ich kann das Programm bis Ende teilnehmen. Dieses Programm gibt mir viele Erfahrungen. Natürlich kann ich meine Deutschkenntnisse verbessern. Allen sehen Fortschritt und Hochverstehen von jedem. Dass das Programm besser im nächsten Jahr veranstaltet wird. Es wäre vielleicht 2-mal im Jahr und es enthält auch mündliche Prüfung oder vielen Dank, Yakil, für die Sonnengelegenheit.
Hi, my name is Taisudu. I'm a teacher from Malaysia. Now I'm teaching in SJKC Patankali. I have been a teacher for 13 years. First and foremost, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to organizer Simeo Kitab to offer me such wonderful learning experience. During these 3 months of learning, I have bring my English to a level up. Thank you very much to the organizer and the program. I would like to encourage all my fellow friends to join this program if you have chance, because it's really will make your English improve and let you learn in a wonderful way. So thanks again to organizer. See you on Bye.
Assalamualaikum et bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Gita Wahyuni Lumain. Je suis indonésienne et en ce moment j'habite à Kuala Lumpur en Malaisie. Je suis professeure de français au lycée indonésien de Kuala Lumpur et j'enseigne le français depuis 2 ans maintenant. Je suis contente d'avoir participé à ce programme car j'ai pu améliorer mes compétences en français à un niveau supérieur. Et en plus, la plateforme est très utile et facile à utiliser. Merci beaucoup Sikil de m'avoir donné la chance pour participer à ce programme. Et j'espère qu'à l'avenir, il y aura plus de programmes similaires afin que nous puissions continuer à améliorer nos compétences linguistiques pour enseigner la langue. Merci beaucoup et à la prochaine fois.
Hallo, ich heiße Nani Cahya, ich komme aus Jakarta, aus Indonesien. Ich bin Lehrerin an der SMA 84 und seit 2007 unterrichte ich Deutsch. Ich habe viel Wissen und Erfahrungen von der Plattform Audisia und auch von anderen befreundeten Teilnehmern gewonnen. Es ist wirklich nützlich. Es verbessert alle Sprachkenntnisse der Lernenden. Hoffentlich, dass es mehr Stipendien für Lehrer geben wird. Ich hoffe, dass ich eine weitere Chance zu haben, bei Siameo zu studieren. Danke an Siameo für alles, was Sie mir und den Teilnehmern gebracht haben. Die Mitarbeiter haben sich sorgfältig alle Teilnehmer gekümmert und auch alle Fragen beantwortet. Danke nochmal. Beste Grüße an euch alle.
Bonjour, je vous présente. Je m'appelle Ayunda, je viens de l'Indonésie. Je suis enseignante du français au lycée 91 Jakarta depuis 1 an. Après avoir fini cette formation pendant 3 mois, je trouve que cette formation est très géniale, utile et enrichissante. Grâce à cette formation, je pourrais avoir beaucoup de nouvelles connaissances et développer mes compétences du français, soit la compétence écrite et aussi orale. Je suis très contente de participer à cette formation. À l'avenir, j'espère que Simio Kitab in Language Skill pourra organiser plus de bonnes formations pour les enseignantes et je pourrai avoir une autre opportunité d'y participer. Enfin, je remercie Asikil pour cette opportunité. À la prochaine!
Hallo, mein Name ist Ulanda Mayanti. Ich bin schon seit 11 Jahren an der SMA N5 Taruna Brawijaya Jawa Timur Indonesia Deutsch unterrichten. Es freut mich sehr, an dieser Fortbildung teilnehmen zu können. Die Zeit ist sehr flexibel, dass ich meine eigene Tempo regeln kann. Das ist sehr gut für die Lehrkräfte mit vielen Aufgaben. Ich hoffe, es gibt noch weitere Fortbildungen, die so gut wie dieser ist. Vielen Dank, Simio Kitab in Language. Auf Wiedersehen.
Hello, I am Ling Ing and I'm from Cambodia. I'm an English teacher at Isaac Academy. I'm really grateful for being one of the participants to join the online training on teachers' language competence improvement. This e-learning program provides great learning opportunities to different teaching professionals to develop skills of their language expertise. These online platforms are designed for different categories of learning contents and tasks, and especially the flexibility for learners. At the end of the training period, there will be certificates given to the participants. I believe that different learning concepts will be developed and open to more participants in the future. Thanks to the organizers for this amazing learning experience.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Kori Hafiza Al-Husna, je viens de l'Indonésie. Je suis enseignant de français au lycée SMA Kapin Jakarta depuis un an. Je suis très content de participer à formation en ligne pour l'améliorer des compétences des enseignants de langue. Dans cette formation, je peux apprendre indépendamment avec une application Alticia pendant 3 mois. Grâce à cela, je peux enrichir mes connaissances et mes compétences de langue française, comme la compréhension orale, la compréhension écrite, grammaire, la prononciation et aussi beaucoup de vocabulaire. J'espère que Shikil pourra organiser plus de formations en ligne, par exemple sur la compétence soit la production écrite des enseignants de langue. Enfin, je remercie Asikil qui m'a donné cette opportunité. Bon succès!
Gelegenheit, ich möchte mich Ihnen vorstellen. Mein Name ist Mariana Mausali. Ich arbeite als Deutschlehrerin in der SMA Kristen 2 Kalabai seit 2019, aber eigentlich lehre ich Deutsch seit 2018. Mein Land ist Indonesien, meine Heimat ist Alor Insel in NTT. Ich bleibe begeistert, obwohl das nicht einfach ist. Ja. In der gleichen Zeit muss ich meine anderen Aktivitäten tun. Ich kann das Programm bis Ende teilnehmen. Dieses Programm gibt mir viele Erfahrungen. Natürlich kann ich meine Deutschkenntnisse verbessern und sehen Fortschritt und Verstehen von jedem. Dass das Programm besser im nächsten Jahr veröffentlicht wird. Es wäre vielleicht 2-mal im Jahr und es enthält auch mündliche Prüfung oder vielen Dank, Jakil, für die Sonnengelegenheit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now heading to the closing ceremony of webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it is one of the most expected times from Simeo Kitab and Language Anniversary Celebration. We would like to say thank you for your great enthusiasm in joining and celebrating our anniversary. For the past week, you have already joined the SIKIL's 12 years anniversary quizzes. Now it is time to announce the winners. For your information, each quiz will have one lucky winner. So, since we have 3 quizzes, we will have 3 winners. And the winner will get exclusive merchandises of Simeo Kitab and Language 12 years anniversary. We have already verified and chosen the winners by using wheels of fortune machine, like the one Dr. Vinita used back then. Now, we will see here the winner of the first quiz is oops, sorry, just a little bit technical difficulty. Please, Mbak Hana, can you show me the slides again? So the first winner is Fadil El Fadin from Instagram. So congratulations to, I think it's a miss, yes, Fadilah Triaulia, with the username Fadil El Fadin. And the second winner, the winner of our second quiz is so the winner for our second quiz is with the username Ibu_Madam Miss Siti Ambaria. Congratulations. And the last winner. So the winner of our third quiz is, congratulations to, yay, Miss Erma Widyanisi with the username Erma punct, what is punct? Widyanisi. So congratulations to the winners. Yay. So if you see your name on the screen, please send us message on our Instagram for more details. Congratulations once again to the 3 winners of our quiz. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Mega Hermawan. He is the project manager of Altisia Indonesia. He will present the winner of 3 contests joined by the 600 participants of online training on teachers' competence improvement. So to Mr. Mega, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Ardel, for the opportunity that has given to me. I'd like to share my screen. Oops, sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Mr. Mega.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to deliver my warmest greetings to Director of SIKIL, Ibu Dr. Luhanik Mayani, Deputy Director of SIKIL Program, Ibu Esra Nelvi, and Deputy Director of Administration, Bapak Misbah Fikrianto, and also to the SIKIL personnels, and also to all the participants that have been joining this webinar since the beginning. Especially for all the participants, I would like to say thank you for the efforts and and the opportunity for the efforts and the patience, for the last 3 months in learning with Altisia. I believe that this is not an easy thing to complete with several requirements to do, completing the 64 hours, and then you had to achieve one higher level from the placement test and the final test, but we're glad that it's done, and congratulations to you who have completed the 64 hours required and one level higher from the placement test. And Let me introduce myself first, of course. My name is Mega Hermawan. As Ms. Ardel said, the project manager of Altisia, the person who have been keeping in touch with you on the Telegram group, on the email as well. And I would like to say, of course, sorry if I missed something in answering your queries, in answering your questions. And now we are going down to the announcement of the contest winners 2021. The contest that we organized in the middle of the training. So this contest was held around a month and a half ago in the middle of the training. And before announcing it, I'd like to deliver just brief informations about the three pillars of Altisia. They are communications, process, and motivations. The communications is the thing that we used to do in the Telegram group and then via email, the messengers, via social media, to make sure that all the participants have the same understanding about the purpose of the training. And the process is the platform itself, the platform that you used to access. And the motivation is the contest that we organized. So the contest is very important, because it's one of our important pillars of Altisia. And we have set 3 contests with different requirements in each, actually. 3 contests, I repeat, but actually it doesn't matter how many contests that we organize. The point is, by organizing the contests, you could access or spend more time on the platform, of course. And here, in contest 1, we organize the specific requirements for each language. So we have 4 language proficiency: English, French, and then German, and then Spanish. For English, the durations of the contest 1 is from the 25th of May until the 14th of June 2021, with the requirements for anyone in each language who could achieve 64 hours in this period. So in these 3 weeks, for anyone in each language who could achieve 64 hours will have the opportunity to be rewarded using the drawing system, using arisan in bahasa Indonesia, using the drawing system. Why? Because of course there are hundreds of users who could achieve these 64 hours, and of course the purpose of this contest is to achieve these 64 hours. And for the rewards, we have set the specific rewards for the winners. For the first winner, we'll have $17 and 45 days of free access to the Altisia platform. For the second winner, $14 and 30 days of free access to the Altisia platform. And for the third winner is $10 and 15 days of free access to the Altisia platform. And I would like to say congratulations to, I don't really want to butcher the winner's name, so sorry if I'm wrong in pronouncing the names of yours. The first winner is Mr. Tu Pok Trong from Vietnam, participant number 519. Second winner, Miss Liang Eng Niang, a participant number 2 from Cambodia. And the third winner, Miss Haiman Tazin, participant number 319 from Myanmar. This is for English only, because in contest 1 we have 4 languages, so we have winners in each languages. This is for English only. And now we go down to the French language. The duration, the requirements, and the rewards are the same. So I just go down to the winners. Congratulations to Miss Ayunda Dini as the first winner, participant number 521 from Indonesia. Miss Gita Wahyuni, participant number 542 from Malaysia as the second winner. Miss Kori Hafiza, participant number 390 from Indonesia as the third winner. And next, for the German, with the same durations, the same requirements, and the same rewards, we have Miss Nani Cahya, 572 from Indonesia as the first winner. Miss Ulanda Mayanti, 589 from Indonesia as the second winner. Miss Mariana Mausali, 567 from Indonesia as the third winner. And we go down to the last category from contest 1 with the same durations, requirements, and rewards from Spanish language. We only have one winner. Congratulations to Mr. Alan Jeffrey, 599 from the Philippines as the first winner, because in Spanish language there are only 2 participants, and Mr. Alan is the only one who are eligible to win this contest. Congratulations to Mr. Alan. So far we have 10 winners from the contest 1. And contest 2, the durations is from the 5th of April until the 27th of June, 2021. If we look at the duration, so it's all about the time span of the platform because it's the durations of the training. 2 participants who are able to achieve the highest time span during the training from all languages. The highest time span means the longest duration access on the platform or during that period of time. And for the rewards, the same. The first winner and the second winner will have $17 and $14 and 40 days and 30 days free access to the Alticia platform. Before showing the winners, I'd like to deliver one information that the training that Alticia and CKL organized last year, 2020, we have 400 of time spent, 400 hours, sorry. But today, right now, we have 530 hours, 530 hours and 27 minutes. Mr. Eko Mulyono, participant number 65 from Indonesia as the first winner. And also congratulations to Miss Yasiutu, 368 from Malaysia, 176 hours and 49 minutes as the second winner. And can you imagine how they spend their nights and days for the last 3 months? And of course, it's more than 1 hour per day in average. Congratulations to Mr. Eko and Ms. Yasiutu as the winners of the contest 2. Now, we are going down to the contest 3. The durations is from the 28th of June until the 5th of July, 2021. If you look at the durations, of course, it's about the final test. It's about the final test period. And the winners, the requirements, 2 participants who are able to achieve the highest level increase from placement test to the final test. For example, if a participant achieves B1 level on the placement test, and then this participant achieved C1, for example, in the final test. So this participant has achieved B1, B2, C1, 2 levels up. Okay, 2 levels up. For the rewards, first winner and second winners, still the same. You can see on the screen. And I'd like to say congratulations to Miss Noria Jungay from the Philippines, participant number 477 from A2 to C1, 3 levels up. And for the second winner, Miss Laulian Yong from Malaysia, 329 from B1 to C1, 2 levels up, selected by drawing system. For information, and for the second winner, actually we have 22 users or participants who have 2 levels up. So we had to select by the drawing system, and this is the winner. Congratulations to Miss Laulian Yong from Malaysia, and also to Miss Nuria from the Philippines. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention and for joining the contest, for everything that you've done for the last 3 months, for the hard work, patience, and effort, and everything, days and nights, to fill the requirements that Alticia and CKL has set. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm giving the floor back to Ms. Adel. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mega. And once again, congratulations to all winners. I hope you can maximize the benefits given from this contest. Very nice to see that all participants are actively participated during the 3-month training. Okay, now may we invite Dr. Luhani Mayani, the Director of Semiokitab Language, to deliver remarks and officially close the online training on teachers' competent improvement and webinar on transformation of foreign language learning in the digital era. To Dr. Luhani, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ardell. It's a great news from Mr. Mega. Thank you very much. So good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen, all teachers who are still joining us in this closing ceremony of the webinar as well as the online training. So first of all, I would like to once again address our respective keynote speaker, Ibu Dr. Vinita Dewi, Mr. Pupung Purnawarman, PhD, Ms. Veronique Sears, PhD. Thank you very much for sharing with us great ideas, information, resources, and also demonstrating the technology to assist language teachers for language learning. And thank you very much also for our partners, Altisia. Thank you for Mr. Patrick Lodge, Mr. Mega, and all colleagues in Altisia. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that this webinar has broadened the perspective, knowledge for all participants, language teachers, and also give us new insights how to use technologies in our upcoming online classes. So for language teachers attending this webinar, once again, thank you very much for your active participation during the webinar. And also for all great teachers participating on the online training. I once again thank you very much for your active participation, and congratulations to all best performers in this online training. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep up yourself updated with the online learning technologies and facilities, as well as knowledge to advance your professional as well as your pedagogical competencies, which then can benefit our students. And as a training center, Semiokitab Language will always try to serve your needs through our training programs and products. And in this good moment, I would also like to sincerely very thankful. I would like to express our appreciation to committee, our staff at Semiokitab Language, and also for Altisia team, to Mr. Patrick Lodge, Mr. Mega, Mr. Nofri, for a very fruitful collaboration, serving 600 teachers in Southeast Asia country. Hopefully, our collaboration will be beneficial to all great teachers in Southeast Asia country participating in this program. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, all respective teachers joining us today. Thank you. Thank you very much for your continuous support to Semiokitab Language. And please stay healthy, stay away from COVID-19 by applying a very tight health protocols. Thank you very much, and see you again in other quality programs of Semiokitab Language. Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Luhani, for the remarks. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the opening ceremony. And for our last agenda for today is the last group photo session. Now, may we invite once again to all panelists to turn on the camera, because we will have our last virtual photo session for today. So, okay, let me see quick through. Okay, So let me count. 1, 2, 3. And the last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. So to all distinguished guests and all participants of today's webinar, before I close the webinar, really close this time, I would like to remind to Zoom participants who have not submitted the attendance list, please kindly fill in the form using the link which are provided in the chat box, and you can access the materials from our 4 speakers through the link that was given also in the chat box. The committee will help me to send the links once again in the chat box. Lastly, on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you for your kind attention and cooperation during the webinar. We really do apologize for any inconvenience occurred during the event. Once again, thank you very much for participating. Stay safe and be healthy. See you on the next event of Simio Kitab in Language. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for Sikil.
Pak Agus, thank you,
Keep up
Pak
the good
Agus.
work for Sikil.
Thank you all.
Luani,
Pak
thank
Agus.
you. Bu
Thank
Esra.
you, everybody.
Ya,
Bu Finita,
Prof.
terima
Dini,
kasih
terima
Pak
kasih
Pupung,
banyak.
terima kasih Bu
Terima
Felicia,
kasih
buat Pak
Pak
Pupung.
Agus.
Sama-sama,
Apa kabar?
sama-sama,
Ya, Bu
baik.
Nila, ya,
Bu
terima
Nila,
kasih
thank
banyak
you.
semuanya.
Misbah,
Bu
saya pamit
Sinita,
ya.
terima kasih.
Bu Tri,
Sukses selalu.
Tri
Ya,
Dini, Ibu Dini.
Hai. Apa kabar Bu
terima
Esra?
kasih.
Iya.
Terima kasih.